It's 6 o'clock, I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: the policing minister defends Bedfordshire's funding cut, 7 people to stand trial for murder in Watford, and Lewis Hamilton just one victory from his third world title.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The Conservative MP for Hemel and Minister for Policing Mike Penning is defending the zero increase in Bedfordshire's police grant. He says the new formula for deciding funding is fair, robust and transparent. But Police and Crime Commissioner for the county, Ollie Martins, is warning the budget risks public safety. Ollie Bayliss has more.
Ollie Martins has expressed his disappointment in receiving just 0.9% of the national budget, saying he felt Mike Penning would give them a bigger share. He has warned that from now on, if there's a serious terrorist plot involving Luton, the responsibility is the government's and not that of the ridiculously overstretched and under-resourced Bedfordshire Police.
The trial will start today of 7 people charged in connection with the murder of a student from Watford. 19-year-old Shahana Udin died at her home in Leavesden Road in October. More from Carol Abercrombie.
Suhail Adin, who's 35, and Salma Begum, who's 32, both of Leavesden Road in Watford, will face murder charges at St Albans Crown Court. They're also accused of allowing the death of a vulnerable adult, along with Layla Begum, who's 25, and 4 others ranging in ages from 22 to 33, Tohel, Juahal, Jewel and Rahena Uddin. They're all pleading not guilty to the charges, including conspiracy to pervert the course of justice.
The former boss of Marks & Spencer is launching the campaign to keep the UK in the European Union. Lord Rose says leaving the Union would be a leap in the dark. The Conservative MP Damien Green sits on the group's board.
It includes students, people from the cultural world, Peter Wall, the former head of the army, a number of business people, because clearly they have a big interest in it, the former head of the TUC, 4 out of a board of 15, 4 of them are politicians, ranging from me as a Conservative to Caroline Lucas from the Greens.
Bedfordshire Fire and Rescue Service has launched a recruitment drive in Kempston. They're targeting more women and potential employees from ethnic communities. Ashton Morris told us why he turned up.
I applied for the fire service 3 years ago. I moved to Bedford to range my opportunity to get into the fire service. So I like to see about the recruitment service, where I'm going to stand and how to apply for it to be successful. I'm more encouraged now. It inspires me to pursue it even more now, because I've been very thankful to come today, and I've learned so much as well.
In sport, Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton is now just one win from his third world title after winning the Russian Grand Prix. The victory means Mercedes have won the Constructors' Championship. And the weather will be mainly dry with sunshine this morning, turning cloudy this afternoon. Temperatures on the chilly side around 14 degrees Celsius. That's 57 degrees Fahrenheit. You can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Edward, do what you do to me. I wish I knew. If I knew how it did it to me, Ed would do it to you. Edward, do.
It's only the Kinks in the 80s.
Standing in the middle of nowhere, wondering how to begin. Lost between tomorrow and yesterday, between now and then. And now we're back where we started. Here we go round again. Day after day I get up and I say I better do it again. What
across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is Edward Adu.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
I do.
Morning, guys. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Now, the Hemel Hempstead MP and Policing Minister Mike Penning has defended the zero increase in Bedfordshire's police funding. You may have seen pictures of the Police and Crime Commissioner Ollie Martins looking mortified throughout the weekend. He's warned that the budget risks public safety. He said that if there is a serious terrorist plot involving Luton, the responsibility is the government's and not that of the ridiculously overstretched and under-resourced Bedfordshire Police. Catherine, how much money will Bedfordshire Police get then?
Well, the Home Office has announced that Bedfordshire Police will continue to receive what they had before, 0.9% of the National Policing Grant. So for next year, that's an annual budget of £64 million. However, the nation's overall police budget is expected to fall significantly, which means that Bedfordshire Police's 0.9% will translate to actually less money in the coming year. Before this announcement, the Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire, Ollie Martins, they were very hopeful. He and the police force themselves were very hopeful that their budget would be increased as their resources have been overstretched. Bedfordshire Police has under half the amount of officers per population as the Metropolitan Police, for example. However, the new budget found no extra money at all for Bedfordshire Police compared with areas like the West Midlands. Their PCC's been campaigning for more money, but they were awarded an extra £37 million. So the money was there, we just didn't get any.
What have Bedfordshire Police said about it?
Well, he's the Labour PCC, Ollie Martins. He's expressed his disappointment at the announcement and says the force now faces a funding Armageddon.
Gosh.
A fundageddon.
A fundageddon.
He's accused Mike Penning, who is a Conservative policing minister, let's remember, of playing politics with Bedfordshire's policing and the national security. And he says from now on, if there's a terrorist incident in Luton, they'll no longer investigate it. He says it has to be left entirely to the Home Office to deal with.
Of course, it's a very small minority of people from Luton who are involved in extremism and terrorism. Nonetheless, we have seen a consistent pattern of plots with connections in terrorist plots with connections into Luton. If we've got, we have at the moment what I would describe as an anemic community policing presence in our communities. If we are having to reduce that already anemic community policing presence, we are going to struggle to be effective, to pick up the community intelligence that is going to enable us to foil these plots.
Do you know
That's what I mean.
Thanks.
Kelly, you know what? I didn't hear any of that. What I was expecting to hear from Ollie Martins, and we've heard it on occasion. We heard it when they didn't get the extra funding. I wanted to hear balls. I wanted to hear an angry Ollie Martins, and
You just sounded disappointed.
Mike Penning, Hemel MP and Police Minister. We're not talking to him, which is unusual, because Mike normally comes on at the drop of a hat.
Exactly. We asked him to. He declined our invitation to come on the programme, but he sent us a statement defending the way the money's being divided. I'm not going to read it all because it's massive. But he says police reform is working and crime has fallen by more than a quarter since 2010. If we want policing in this country to be the best it can be, then we must reform further, and that includes putting police funding on long-term sustainable footing. Bedfordshire Police, though, will receive exactly the same share of money under this new reformed formula as it did under the old one, unlike the West Midlands.
Oh, well, OK. Well, listen, on the weekend on the Saturday... By the way, Kelly, great to have you back.
Thanks, Blair.
On the weekend show...
I miss Danny.
He was very good. We started off with the Kinks, the first ever boy band. Let's continue now with OTT, the last ever boy band.
On and on we could go, on and on this way forever. Yeah, willing to feel love and pain only in careful measures. Ooh, never asking for too much, never taking more than we need. Guarding our trust like frightened refugees. meaning of these words I've spoken. Oh, wanna make that leap of faith to the arms of eternity. I'll be unafraid, but you've got to be there for me. Ooh, I've seen your picture in the story of love. 1,000 words can never say enough. I know your history can turn on us. Let's start a chapter in the story of love. The story of love. In the story of love. The story of love. Alone, but never easy. Together, hard but easier. Understanding what I need, and it's union, communion, the very best of everything, the best of everything. I've seen your picture in the story of love. 1,000 words can never say enough. I know your history can turn on us. Let's start a chapter in the story of love. The story of love. The story of love. The story of love. I've seen your picture.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's starting to build up on the M25 anti-clockwise between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for the A41 at Watford. And on the North Orbital Road at the Bricketwood M25 junction 21A roundabout, it's looking very slow on the speed sensors too. On the M1, it's moving fine through the roadworks between junction 12 for Flitwick and 11 for Dunstable, but there's a lane closed in each direction, so expect delays there later.
Oh, not Elaine again.
North Circular Road, westbound in Neaston, if you're heading into London, there is delays between the M1 at Staples Corner and Wembley through the roadworks. And also, if you're heading into London on the Metropolitan line, there are severe delays between Harrow on the Hill and Aldgate. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Not Elaine again.
I know, she's back.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous. My levels are all to cock this morning. I've got no... Here we go. There we go. I blame Edward Adu. Every time he comes in the studio, something happens. I wish he would not... He's left a deposit somewhere. Something's happened. 6:16, Monday the 12th of October. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Conservative MP for Hemel and Minister for Policing, Mike Penning, is defending the zero increase in the budget for Bedfordshire Police. 7 people will go on trial today for the murder of 19-year-old Shahana Uddin in Watford. And Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton is a really boring man.
Lord Sugar will see you now.
Call yourself candidates. It's sink or swim here, and I don't do armbands.
18 candidates, 12 tough weeks.
This is going to be the toughest apprentice yet.
It's down to business with The Apprentice.
Oi, call yourself a voiceover?
Sorry, listen, as I said before, when Lord Sugar, I mean, the Amstrad CPC 464 was a terrible computer. It was a terrible computer. The games on it were pony. When he starts plugging me on his 80s video game and hi-fi... when he starts plugging me on his 21st century television programme, then we'll start plugging him on the radio. There we go.
Is just a great big onion, and hate and fear are the spices
No, you can't plant love seeds. No. Oh, shh. Third harmony. It's just a great big onion. I'm like Mariah Carey.
In many ways.
Whoa! Sorry?
Was MJ creeping in?
It was a little bit of MJ, Black or White, the greatest Michael Jackson song of all time. I'm tempted to play. I'm tempted to play this, right? But this came up on my iPod, right? But listen to this.
Oh yeah.
Can we
Is
get
that Bad
away with
Medicine?
this? Huh?
Is that Bad Medicine?
No. It's by a band called Enough Is Enough.
Is it Zaswery?
No. It's so good. Okay, we might play that. But then I'm tempted to play this. Do you know the Leningrad Cowboys?
No.
Okay.
My.
They're a
It's
Russian.
like Tom Jones.
They're Russian, right?
Is this the original?
Madonna in the morning. Right.
I just want to hear what the chorus is like. Hang on, guys, bear with me. The Leningrad Cowboys, they're a Russian band, right? They've all got massive quips. They made a film called, I can't think what the film was called, but they're like funny. Hang on. Now you made me feel shiny and new. Like a virgin. You get it? Touch for the very first time. Like a I forgot how
It's like
good
a male choir backing them up.
Let's try this. Well, that's them.
Gosh, that's amazing.
Your body's mine, gonna tell you right. To show your face,
About daylight.
I'm telling you on how I feel. Gonna catch your mind. Don't treat the
Let's wait for the chorus. So. Oh, they're good, aren't they? They made a film. What? 03459 455 555. What's the Leningrad Cowboys film? Where they go to America to become rock and roll stars, but they've never heard rock and roll, so they read about it on the plane on the way over, and then they it's just this. Here we go.
We'll say the sky's the limit. Me, it's really true. Being friends, you ain't think nothing. Waiting like a crew because I'm bad. You know, I'm bad. Really bad.
Wow. They didn't say Shamal.
They're taking it to church. Oh, I love them.
Do you know this one?
No. Hang on.
In the track listing, it's called Ghostbuster.
No.
There's something strange in the neighborhood. Now who you gonna call?
Ghostbuster!
Oh, it's this is them live in like Red Square, I think, or something. What? Indulge me one more. Hang on a second. BBC Three Counties Radio, the home of Russian music. There we go. What was their film? They did a film, and I remember it being brilliant. Hang on.
Shall I ask Jeeves?
Once upon a time there was a tavern.
Hang on.
This is going to be amazing.
Be with you in a second, Justin.
Yeah, no worries, boss.
We're just going around the world musically. Well, we've landed in Red Square, so hang on.
Think about the great things we would. Those were the days, my friend.
Oh, sweet!
Can we forget the rest of the show? It is just the Leningrad Cowboys. They look amazing. Google a picture of them. They've got these big quiffs.
They don't care, do they?
They literally don't care. Haters gonna hate this.
Oh, well. I'm not crazy about them. Oh, look at that.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
Like unicorns.
I've got a question.
Yes, boss.
Okay, Russians. Okay,
Yes.
why is it they not only look aggressive,
Yep.
but they also sound aggressive?
Um,
Why?
He's got a good point. It's an aggressive
Yes.
language.
Yes.
It's a very
No, I
aggressive...
think it's smooth.
No.
No, not at all. I spent 2 hours on a flight a couple of years ago, utterly terrified. I was surrounded by Russians.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great experience.
Well, hang on a second. Listen, they do embrace America. Listen.
Do you want to know what their film was called?
Hang on. Yeah, go on. What was it?
Leningrad Cowboys Go America.
Leningrad Cowboys Go America.
America.
It's a treat. How much is it on Amazon? Because I'm going to order it. We should probably crack on with this, Justin. I do apologise.
That's fine.
There's a
loving
show
it.
to do. There's a show to do. How was the Saturday breakfast?
It was good, yeah, interesting for a first one. Yes, I was very happy with it. Yeah, interesting vibe.
A lot. My levels are all to cock. I'm distorting in my ear, and you're really quiet. This is ridiculous. This flipping studio does my nut in. It does. It really pees me off that they spent a fortune on the studio and they don't flip work properly. And then I get an email saying the reason it don't work is my fault. Balls, is it?
Need your life story.
Oh, flipping heck. Someone needs my life story. I'm going to shove this studio right up there, Jaxie. Now, Justin.
Yes.
They are getting tough on blue. It really annoys me. You come to work and you would expect the place that you work to function. Anyway, they're getting tough on blue badge fraud in Bedford. The latest people to get busted are a man caught using his son's blue badge to park in the town centre and a care manager who tampered with the date. Bedford Borough's corporate fraud team are planning more spot checks in the future. Dealey, what happened in the case of the father who was fined?
Yeah, this was 31-year-old Ekramul Chowdhury from Bayham Close. Was ordered to pay nearly £1,000 by Bedford Magistrates Court for fraudulently missing his disabled son's blue badge to park. Now, when his vehicle was subject to checks in 2015, it emerged that his son was at school and Mr Chowdhury was instead using his son's badge to park in St Paul's Square. Naughty, naughty. When later questioned by Bedford Borough Council's fraud team, Mr Chowdhury admitted to using the badge without his son being there in order to park near to his place of work. Sentenced at Bedford Magistrates Court, the magistrate warned Mr Chowdhury that he had narrowly escaped a custodial sentence or unpaid work as an appropriate punishment due to the callousness of his actions.
Callousness. I do think anyway, what about the care home manager? Tell us that one.
Yeah, this was a 41-year-old Bedford resident, Miss Lisa Burnup. Lisa is deputy manager with residential care provider CareTech. She pleaded guilty to altering the date on a disabled blue badge issued to CareTech. The court heard that what happened was it was a colleague of Miss Burnup was seen by a civil enforcement officer displaying a blue badge on the 16th of January 2015 whilst working in the Kempston area. However, on closer inspection of that badge, the civil enforcement officer noticed that it had been tampered with and the expiry date had been altered. So the expiry date of the badge, which was originally the 1st of November 2013, had been altered, so it was then the 1st of November 2015. Now, following Miss Burnup was interviewed about this, she admitted to altering the date on the blue badge as CareTech no longer qualified to have that badge. She was fined as well, this time a total of just over £800. Burnup's colleague, who was caught using the fraudulent badge, is also subject to action by the council and will be appearing in court later this month.
What's the council saying, Just?
The Mayor of Bedford, Dave Hodgson, he said that he's always particularly sad to hear these stories when disabled badges are issued to organisations such as CareTech when they're abused, given the work they do to help people with disabilities. He says, however, we would expect carers to understand the importance of blue badges being used correctly to help those with genuine needs. So there's clearly clamping down on people.
Dealey, how much would you be prepared to pay for a lock of the Princess of Hearts, Princess Diana's, Lady Di's hair?
Oh my goodness, that's not for sale, seriously.
Yeah. A lock of hair, allegedly from the Princess of Wales, is up for sale online at £800. Sounds like a bargain to me. Well, we've got the technology to reverse engineer her. We could recreate her in a test tube.
But why?
What do you mean, why, for goodness sakes?
But come on, why?
For goodness sakes. I've got the hippie shakes. The American seller described the memorabilia on the Amazon website as a few strands of Diana's hair. It's claimed the strands, pictured below, and there is a picture of them, were taken from a book signed by Diana in 1995, 2 years before her death. Although exactly how they came to be there is not explained. Justin?
Yes?
I think that's a bargain. I don't see any problem with buying that. Could you take that to the streets?
Wow. Yeah, no worries.
Thank you very much, Moros. Speak to you later.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 anti-clockwise, there are long queues between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford, because at junction 19 for Watford there's been a 5-vehicle accident which has closed 2 lanes. Also in Bricketwood on the North Orbital Road, it's very slow at the M25 junction 21A roundabout, and in Neaston there are delays on the North Circular Road between the M1 at the Staples Corner flyover towards Wembley. That's through the roadworks and it's down to 2 lanes each way through Neaston and Wembley now. In High Wycombe there's roadworks on Marlow Hill, so that could cause some delays later on at the junction for Dawes Hill Lane, and there's no reported problems on the trains, but if you're using the London Underground to get into London today, there are severe delays between Harrow on the Hill and Aldgate because of a signal failure, so passengers are advised to use the Jubilee line instead. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines. The Conservative MP for Hemel and Minister for Policing Mike Penning is defending the zero increase in Bedfordshire's police grant. He says the new formula for deciding funding is fair, robust and transparent. 7 people will stand trial today for the murder of a 19-year-old woman in Watford. Shahana Udin died at a home in Leavesden Road last October. And the former boss of Marks & Spencer is launching the campaign to keep the UK in the European Union ahead of a national referendum. Lord Rose says leaving the Union would be a leap in the dark. The weather will be mainly dry with sunshine this morning, turning cloudy this afternoon. Temperatures on the chilly side around 14 degrees Celsius. That's 57 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sport.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton is now just 1 win from his 3rd world title after winning the Russian Grand Prix.
Lewis Hamilton comes out of the final corner. He almost slows to a crawl as he takes the checkered flag. His 42nd career victory, his 9th of this season, and surely the one that moves him within a breath of becoming a 3-time world champion.
And the victory means Mercedes have won the Constructors' Championship. On to football, and Phil Jagielka will captain the England side against Lithuania in their final Euro 2016 qualifier this evening. Northern Ireland, who've already confirmed their place at next summer's tournament, drew 1-1 away to Finland, but the Republic of Ireland's hopes of automatic qualification were dashed as they were beaten 2-1 by Poland in Warsaw. Stevenage have moved up to 20th in League Two after a 3-3 draw at Exeter. Manager Teddy Sheringham says they make a strong start.
I think it was a good performance apart from perhaps 2 or 3 lapses of concentration. It's a sloppy start after, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 minutes to go behind, you know. So apart from that, we got into the game early on and we passed it nicely and opened them up a little bit. Didn't take our chances, and the second was just a killer blow that was just very harsh, I felt at the time. But when you don't start good enough, that's what happens.
In golf, Matt Fitzpatrick claimed his first European Tour title, winning the British Masters at Woburn. He finished 15 under par, 2 shots clear of the field.
Unbelievable, yeah, speechless to be fair. It's probably been the best day ever, I'd say, yeah. It's unbelievable. Probably the best day of my life, yeah.
And that's BBC Three Counties News and Sport with more at 7 o'clock.
Thank you very much indeed.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is Edward Adu
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, guys. That should wake them up. That should wake them up. I believe they call that genre rock. I think that's it. File under rock. £800 for a lock of Lady Diana's hair. What's he put that face for? I think that's
Because
a
I think
bargain.
you should leave dead people's bits alone.
Well,
Be flogging them on eBay.
Well, look, oh, for goodness sakes.
I don't want a part of anybody else as my possession.
Well,
Do you?
yeah.
Whose
yeah.
bits do you want?
I did put a bid in on some scans of Davy Jones, an MRI scan.
That's not his actual bits, though.
Well, his bits weren't up for sale. Had his bits been up for sale, then I would have been totally in there.
Clippings?
Clippings, not so much. But yeah, I mean, if there was a bit of George Harrison on eBay, I'd put in a cheeky bid. Of course, I'd put in a cheeky bid. There's like a George Harrison. I
Bit
don't
of his
know.
tash?
Well, Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees is selling his stools.
Is he?
Yeah. Him and his daughter have got a carpentry business.
Oh, yeah, they do a very nice job.
So they make. You all right, Kelly?
Mm-hmm.
It's great to have you back. Is it sounding all right out there? Because in my ears, this is sounding awful.
It's sounding fine.
Last on air comment about that. Okay, fine, fantastic. The levels are all to cock here today. Yeah, but I of course I would. Of course I would pay. Invest. And £800 sounds like a bargain.
What would you do with it?
Make another one.
I would try and clone it in a test tube in the laboratory that we have. Well, technology is a little bit dated, so it probably would go wrong. She would come out looking like the Fly.
I know it's come from her head, but where has it come from?
Head.
Well,
Like who-
celebrity hairdresser, like many, obviously,
They
saw a
just
way
keep
to
it.
keep a quick buck.
Well, here we
Make
go.
one, rather.
This is the ultimate proof as to whether her two sons love her or not. Whether they're just playing lip service to her. Are they going to buy it? Are they going to buy a piece of Mama? Is that, that's...
I think they have the ultimate prize, which is memories of Mama and actually having known her.
We've all got memories. A spokesman and I walked past her once in High Street, Kensington.
Surely they're the biggest part of her, though.
Yeah, actually, fair play.
She had a puffer jacket on. She was beautiful. And leggings.
She's very ski-wear, wasn't she, at one point?
A spokesman for the British Monarchist Society said... The sale of modern royal hair makes us feel uneasy, and we are sure Prince William and Harry will be disturbed by the auction too. It is essentially a body part. Well, the listing on Amazon describes the lock of hair as 100% authentic. Well, that's that sorted then.
Of course it will, yeah.
Because and bills the sale as an opportunity to purchase a piece of authentic Princess Diana memorabilia.
I wonder what she'd think of all this.
Wouldn't she?
She'd want the money to go to charity.
Of course she would. Of course she would. She was into all of that nonsense, wasn't she? What you got in the papes?
Another national treasure,
Yep.
perhaps at the other end of the spectrum. Anne Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
TV's Queen of Mean, Anne Robinson, blasted top firms for making her job too easy as she quit Watchdog after 15 years.
Well, no. She didn't quit it after 15 years.
She was fired.
She had a break for like 4 years when Campbell did it. So that's nonsense to say she did it for 15 years. That's a lie.
Right, Hannah Hope, Deputy 3am editor, put your finger out.
Come on, get your facts right.
The 71-year-old acid-tongue consumer champion who left as host of the BBC One show last month said she was tired of biting the heads off junior pushovers sent by firms to represent them. Twice divorced Anne, irrelevant, worth an estimated 50 million.
It would explain... I would suggest that is relevant.
Why?
It explains the snarkiness and the bitterness. Also explains the divorces.
Almost every week a company would send someone to defend whatever they've been doing or accused of. Usually they send a youngster and I ask them, are you nervous? Are you all right on TV? They say, oh, I've done a media course. And I say, you're going to be toast in half a minute, right?
Why is
media
she-
courses are making people stupid.
Is she explaining the concept of watchdog to us? We know how watchdog works.
She's just slamming the fact that these people are being so-called trained when actually they're being trained to be lambs to the slaughter, because you can tell when they're using the techniques.
We're talking today about the Blue Badges.
Yeah.
And we're echoing then. Now we're echoing. Is that you out there that's echoing? Is there any way you can get rid of that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Close
I'm
my
gonna
cradle.
play. There we go. The front page of The Sun. Now, you're going home in a faking ambulance.
What?
You're going home in a faking
The
ambulance.
Sun wrote that, did they?
Cop fan acts disabled to see game. A super fit for... Well, you say you say... I kind of go, and I don't... This isn't a front page story. A super fit football supporter pretended to be wheelchair bound to get a front row spot for Liverpool's sellout clash with Everton. Cop fan Jake Danner, 23, who does triathlons, had got hold of a disabled ticket. A charity said it was shocking.
What, so he sat in a wheelchair the whole way through?
Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily that... I don't think it's that bad.
I think it's a bit low.
Why?
Well, because there are people with genuine disabilities who would have liked to have that seat, and there's him pretending just for the sake of... I mean, God, and it's football. It's not even like he's going to go and see Aha or something.
When we went to New York, right, with my mum, she's in a wheelchair, we got to the front of all of the queues.
Yeah, but she's actually in a wheelchair. There are very few perks that come with that.
Exactly. We got to the front of the queue at New York, the immigration. Boy, you queue there, that's 5 hours straight away. Empire State Building, we saw the queue, we turned to leave, a man said, "Hey, guys, come on, you go on the disabled lift." No, the handicap lift. That was it. You go in the handicap lift. And kind of part of me thinks, hire a wheelchair when you're in New York. Do you know, I kind of think that, save a bit of time and money, hire a wheelchair. I don't think this guy's done anything particularly bad. It's the cracking...
That's like if you want a bit of company and you pretend that you're blind, so you'll have someone talking to you all the way through your museum visit or your theatre visit.
It's nothing like that.
Weird.
It's nothing like that.
It's totally like that.
But pretending to be in a wheelchair so you get to the front of the queue is not the same as having a blind... Do they give out companions to blind people?
Sometimes, yeah, they give you a commentator.
No, that's those phones, those giant phones.
No, but sometimes it's in person.
I've never used, and I never will use, one of those things in a museum. I'll go around and have a look. I don't want a voice telling me the story behind it.
I had a good one when we went up the Empire State Building, though. It was a New York cabbie. Look over there. That's the Bowery District.
Well, those guys, you don't need any of those
hilarious.
guys. It sounds absolutely atrocious. 03459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are problems on the M25 because two lanes have been closed anti-clockwise at junction 19 for Watford. That's because of a 5-car accident, and it's causing delays back now from junction 22 for St Albans, and it's also causing problems on the A405 to Tippendale Lane at the Park Street and St Albans junction. On the Bricketwood North Orbital Road at the M25 junction 21A roundabout, it's looking very busy, and on the North Circular Road there are long delays between the Neaston interchange and Wembley because of the roadworks. On Mullow Hill and High Wycombe, expect queues at Dawes Hill Lane because of the roadworks there, and there's no reported problems on the trains, but if you're heading into London and using the Underground, the Metropolitan line has severe delays between Harrow on the Hill and Aldgate because of a signal failure at Finchley Road. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Sammy. 6:45. Monday, the 12th of October, I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Conservative MP for Hemel and Minister for Policing, Mike Penning, is defending the zero increase in the budget for Bedfordshire Police. 7 people will go on trial today for the murder of 19-year-old Shahana Uddin in Watford, and Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton is now just one victory away from being even more boring.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello. Hello. Okay, I've got the weather. Here we go.
We can hear you. You go. What's wrong?
Okay. All right then. Well, we've got some sunny spells around today, but not quite as many as we saw yesterday. There'll always be a little bit more in the way of cloud. Locally, it's quite chilly as well. We've got sort of 3 degrees across parts of Buckinghamshire, and we've got a fairly chilly northeasterly breeze as well today. It's just going to take the edge off the temperatures basically. So really quite chilly and exposure to that, but nice in the sunshine. Just more cloud around than yesterday. Should stay dry until at least we get to this evening as well. Top temperatures only up to around sort of 13 or 14 Celsius today, so not very high at all. That's 57 in Fahrenheit, but it is going to stay dry. Just the possibility of 1 or 2 light showers this evening into northern areas of, in particular, and we'll see lows of probably around sort of 6 or 7 degrees in many of the towns. Most places staying dry. There'll be some clear spells around. The breeze should keep any frost at bay, but tomorrow's going to feel a little bit cooler and the breeze is going to pick up as well. Just the risk of 1 or 2 light showers around through the morning, but otherwise mostly dry with some spells of sunshine as well. And it's looking remarkably similar actually for much of the rest of the week too. Most places will be dry. There will be some sunshine about at times, but quite a bit of cloud and that rather chilly northeasterly breeze. They're feeling quite autumnal all in all. That's the forecast.
Imagine me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to so think about the girl you love and hope your lives so happy together.
If I should call you up in Amsterdam and you say you belong to me, and use my mind, imagine how the world would be so very fine, so happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies leave me blue for all my life.
Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it has to be the only one for me is you and you for me, so happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies leave me blue for all my life. Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it has to be the only one for me is you and you for me, so happy together. And me, no matter how they toss the dice, it has to be the only one for me is you and you for me, so happy together, 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 happy together.
That whole album's getting bought later on iTunes. Can't wait to hear their version of California Girls, which is on there. Flippin' heck. That was good. Morning, Matt.
Morning.
Would you like to buy a lock of Lady Diana's luscious blonde hair?
I've got some myself already, mate.
Have you?
Yeah.
Hey, fantastic. Where'd you get that
I've
from?
I've got loads of celebrities and royals' hair. I pick it up all over the place.
Any for sale?
Yeah, what are you after?
He's opening his coat.
You got any McCartney?
Yeah, I can sort that out for you.
How much for a few strands of McCartney?
Oh, McCartney, he's got to be worth a few quid, isn't he?
Yeah, what vintage you got though?
£3 quid, mate.
Is it the
£3
Is it the new look McCartney that's gone slightly red because he's dyeing it, or is it old style mop top?
Whatever you want, Kelly.
It's Catherine, but never, it doesn't matter.
Right, Steve.
Sorry.
No, okay, what about a bit of Elvis? Bit of Elvis?
Yeah, can sort that out for you.
How much for Elvis? Where you getting greasy? Where you getting all this hair from, Matt?
I'll get it. I'll pick it up. It's all over the place. You just need to know how to look for it, mate. You'll find it in books. I'll find it in car boot sales, burger bars. It's everywhere.
Matt, well, listen, thank you very much indeed. Sounds like Matt's on to a nice little winner there, doesn't it, with his locks of hair. Beautiful locks of hair. Beautiful locks of hair. Here's the thing. Listen to this. Someone has done one of those silly things where they've added good korma. Curry-loving Brits spend on average £340 a year each on takeaways, 3 times a month, at £9.41 a time. Where are you going to get they don't deliver for less than a tenner. Where are you going to get a takeaway for £9.41?
It's making me hungry, this.
My wife got a curry on a Friday night, right? And I was in bed. I was absolutely shattered. And we had to do the show here. Then I had to do 2 shows in Birmingham. She said, I'll leave it in the fridge for you. You can have it tomorrow if you want. The leftovers are beautiful. She said for breakfast. And I said, well, I won't have it for breakfast. So I saw it in the morning. It was all there, loads of it. Pucker. Came here, did the rabbit hole, drove to Birmingham, did 2 shows, drove back from Birmingham, got home at 2 o'clock in the morning. All the way on the journey home, I'm thinking, curry. I won't stop on the way home because there's curry. I'm going to whack that in the micro. Beautiful. I got home. It had all gone. There was just some soggy Bombay aloo. That's all there was left. It had all gone. She'd eaten it. said, what are you doing with it? She said, I got hungry. I said, I was expecting that. That was my supper. I was going to have that as my supper. I couldn't believe it.
It's outrageous.
It was outrageous. Where can you get a takeaway for £9.41? I want to. I want to go and have some of that. What you got in the papers?
This. Giving someone a hug or receiving a random act of kindness from a stranger are among the little things that really make us happy.
Makes me want to puke.
Psychologists found that 9 out of 10 of us say it only takes a small thing, such as a clinch. Clinch sounds like a big thing. Or hearing a favourite song on the radio to improve a bad day. According to their research, many people feel most miserable at 11:17 a.m. That's a bit rude to Jonathan Vernon-Smith. On a Monday.
It's the consumer hour. It's the best bit of the show, that bit.
And happiest later that afternoon at around 2:35 for Nick Coffer.
However, that makes sense. Yeah, I can buy that.
However, a spontaneous hug made at least 40% of those polled. Gosh, they got polled as well.
There we go.
Feel good at any time, which was just ahead of receiving a compliment for a stranger. Well, it depends on the compliment, doesn't it? If it's a rude one, then it's not nice. Top of the 10 little things that make our day was doing a good deed for someone, voted by 40% of people surveyed, followed by a random act of kindness from a stranger.
Oh, get stuffed. All this good deeds and random acts of kindness, it gets right on my wick. Morning, Harley.
Hello.
How you doing? You all right?
It's my dad's birthday.
Hang on a second. Let's focus in on this. What's your dad's name?
Dave.
Dave?
Yeah.
And how old is
Birthday Dave.
How old is your dad?
50.
50? Happy birthday, Dave.
Eh?
Well, would you like... I tell you what, we don't normally do this, Harley, but I like this, the cut of your jib. What are you, 16, 17?
No, it's 5.
Are you really 5? Or are you a grown-up pretending to be 5?
I am a 5.
You're a 5.
She's a 5.
I'm looking at Kelly. Kelly's not moved. Okay, no, it's not you on the phone, Kelly. All right, Harley. Well, do you want to sing Happy Birthday to Birth Dave?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daddy. Happy birthday to you.
There we go. We're going to have that. Now, listen, Harley, I have to ask you a question. Do you watch the CBeebies?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know who Andy is?
Yeah.
He's the terrifying-looking one. He's half giant. I'm not sure if his mum or his dad is a giant, but he's got giant genes. He's coming on the show tomorrow at 8:30 to try and sell us his new album. I know. I mean, really. Have you got what we want to do? And this is open to all of you boys and girls, ladles and jelly spoons. If you've got a question, if you're a young person or a really old person that's got a question for Andy, you can either phone up today and record and send it to us, or you can record it and email it to us. Have you got any questions, Harley, that you would like to ask Andy?
What would you like to ask him? Yes.
Go on, what would you like to ask? Go.
How tall are you?
Excellent.
It's an excellent question.
Is there a follow-up to that? It sounded like there was going to be a follow-up. Or is that just it?
Just it.
Beautiful. Harley, that's going to get played tomorrow at about 8:30 to Andy, okay?
What about my happy birthday song?
Sorry?
Oh, she's got a request.
What about the happy birthday song?
Which happy birthday song?
Any.
Oh, you want a request? All right, go on then. What song would your dad like?
Happy birthday.
No. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I went to the zoo. I saw a big fat monkey, and you smell like a poo.
80.
You want? He's going to be 80. Harley, I've got the perfect song.
Any song from the 80s.
Well, this song is almost from the 80s. It's the one before, but...
Dangling from a tree. Every time you'd pass me by, you'd take a bite of me. I wish I was a bluebird. I'd never fly away. Sit up on your shoulder, baby, and sing to you all day. Come on home. Cindy, Cindy. Come on home. Cindy, Cindy. Come on home. Cindy, Cindy. Come on home with me. I wrote it in a letter, carved it on a tree. I told it to a honeycomb. Need you in the evening when supper time is through. What I'm really trying to say is I can't get enough of you. Come on home, Cindy, Cindy. Come on home, Cindy, Cindy. Come on home, Cindy, Cindy. Come on home with me. If I were a musician, I'd harp on just one thing. You should never play my heart the way you pluck a string. If only you would love me, sincerely tell me so. I'd beat the drums about the baby to let the whole world know. Come on home, Cindy, Cindy. Come on home, Cindy, Cindy. Come on home, Cindy, Cindy. Come on home with me. Come on home, Cindy, Cindy. Come on home, Cindy, Cindy. Come on home, Cindy, Cindy. Come on home with me.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 anti-clockwise, there's been an accident at junction 19 for Watford, so it's closed 2 lanes there, and that's causing delays from junction 22 for St Albans, but it's also affecting the A405 to Tippendale Lane from Park Street. On the M25 anti-clockwise at junction 16 for the M40 to 15 for the M4 at the Thorney interchange, it's also looking slow. And on the M1, it's very busy southbound between the M1 junction 10 for Luton Airport and junction 9 for the A5 at Redbourne. It's also looking quite busy on the A5 approaching Luton Road from Lynch Hill. And on the A41 at the High Street in Waddesdon, there's temporary traffic lights which could cause delays at the junction for Baker Street. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. So, would you spend 800 quid on a lock of Princess Diana's hair, or do you think it's a little bit bad taste? And, well, part of me thinks that maybe we're getting a little bit too nasty towards those blue badge Dodge pods.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines. The policing minister defends Bedfordshire's funding cut. 7 people to stand trial for the murder of a teenager in Watford. And Lewis Hamilton just one victory from his third world title.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The Conservative MP for Hemel and Minister for Policing Mike Penning is defending the zero increase in Bedfordshire's police grant. He says the new formula for deciding funding is fair, robust and transparent. Bedfordshire's Police and Crime Commissioner Ollie Martins says he thought a meeting with Mike Penning had been positive.
He left me with the impression that his expectation was that the formula would help Bedfordshire, and that's not going to happen. The formula keeps us exactly with exactly the same share of the national cake. That is a cake that the Chancellor has said will be reducing by between 25 and 40% in his spending review.
A trial will start today of 7 people charged in connection with the murder of a student from Watford. 19-year-old Shahana Udin died at a home in Leavesden Road last October. More from Carol Abercrombie.
Suhail Adin, who's 35, and Salma Begum, who's 32, both of Leavesden Road in Watford, will face murder charges at St Albans Crown Court. They're also accused of allowing the death of a vulnerable adult, along with Layla Begum, who's 25, and 4 others ranging in ages from 22 to 33, Tohel, Juahal, Jewel and Rahena Udin. They're all pleading not guilty to the charges, including conspiracy to pervert the course of justice.
The campaign for Britain to stay in the European Union is being launched this morning. Britain Stronger in Europe warns that leaving the EU would be a leap in the dark. But the UKIP MP Douglas Carswell says the In campaign doesn't represent ordinary people.
Of course, the In campaign is going to look from the outset as if it's a little bit more uniform. That's because it is. It's a product of lobbyists and corporatist boardrooms. It's therefore going to have a slightly slick feel to it. But, I think the strength of the Out campaign is that it's authentic.
From today, pensioners and those about to reach pension age can increase their state pension by up to £25 per week by paying in thousands of pounds extra as a lump sum. The top-up scheme's being made available because of changes that come into force next spring. These pensioners aren't sure about it.
I wouldn't have the capital to pay the government that amount of money just to, pay me £25 a week extra for the future.
It's a gamble, isn't it? How long are you likely to live? Yeah, I suppose that's a judgment you make. If you think you're going to live to 100, you might want to do it.
In sport, Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton is now just one win from his third world title after winning the Russian Grand Prix. The victory means Mercedes have won the Constructors' Championship, and the weather will be mainly dry with sunshine this morning, turning cloudy this afternoon. Temperatures on the chilly side around 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. You can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
Thank you, Lee. Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. So, would you spend 800 quid on a lock of Princess Diana's hair? I kind of think, it's a bargain, isn't it? Don't you think? And all these people the front page of The Sun, some guy pretended to be in a wheelchair to get a better seat to a football match, and they're kind of cracking down on the fraudulent use of the blue badge scheme. I mean, in the great scheme of things, really? Is it that bad? 03459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, Brendan.
Morning, Ian. How are you doing today?
A little bit windy, Pops, but apart from that, I'm doing all right. What you got for us, fella?
I've got some bad news.
It's not your sound cube, is it? Your cube. What is it? Your grease cube? Your ice cube?
No.
What was it called?
No, this is completely different.
Well, what was the cube called?
Juice cube.
Juice cube. That's it. So it's not anything to do with your juice cube. It didn't get confiscated at Luton Airport.
It didn't even go.
Because
I managed to charge up one phone and both phones and used one in the day I went, and then took the one that I'm on with me to Spain.
So hang on, you took two phones with you on holiday because
I took one with me and my tablet. I thought the tablet wasn't going to last the day if I was using it on the day I went.
So hang on a second. How long were you away for?
10 days.
And did you charge your tablet and your phone at any point in those 10 days?
Yes, every night.
Well, that's I'm glad to hear.
The other thing is,
yes,
when we were last Monday,
yes,
a week ago, we were out there,
yeah,
and we went to collect another member of our family,
yeah,
from the airport,
okay,
Alicante,
yeah,
and apparently we were followed. We were told by one or two people in Spain that we were followed.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of the juice cube.
By a white car, and they were actually suspicious. These people were suspicious. They followed us right onto Iain.
Right. Hang on a minute. Who? First of all, who told you that you had been followed?
I'm not allowed to say because we are. This is quite an extensive thing. We had two people. We had certainly people across from us on the building in front of us tell us that we've been followed.
And who was in the white car following you?
We do not know. Some thieves.
And did they steal anything?
Luckily not.
So they inept thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's something. Flipping heck. Well, you live an exciting, dare I say it, paranoid life.
No, it's not that. It's just the thing is over there. We have a system out in Spain.
Yes.
Now, whatever happens, if we're followed or anything, we have to report it.
Okay, and you reported it?
No.
Oh, I thought you had to report it.
The person that saw it reported it, and then they followed us up our stairs.
The people in the white car did?
Yes.
Flipping heck, mate.
That was how close we were to being
death.
Stolen.
You were nearly stolen?
We nearly had something stolen.
Jeez.
That's how close we were.
That's very close, as you say.
Literally a door's breath.
A door's breath away from being stolen.
Having something stolen.
The Brendan story. Is that what you called in for?
That was the thing that I was saying to you that happened. I was wanting to make sure people were aware at Luton when they go to Alicante...
Well, hang on. You can't... Brendan, you can't scare people by saying that people at Luton may be followed if they go to Alicante. You can say that, you know, there might be people following you around Alicante.
No, there may be some thieves watching out for cars, hire cars coming out of Alicante.
Yeah. Wasn't Alicante the lead singer of UB40? Oh, no, that was Ali Campbell. That was, yes. No, he was the guy that worked for Tony Blair and was an alcoholic. I'm so confused with all these Campbells.
Yeah.
Brendan, it's wise words, and I really appreciate you sharing it with us. And thank God for Spanish doors.
I know.
Thank you very much indeed.
I've been to Spain several times, and the white van man's never followed me.
You don't know, though. You don't know. If you've got any stories about being followed in Spain by Ali Campbell from UB40, 03 459 455 555. An absolutely chilling story to get us... into this next story. There's no way of doing it. Mike Penning has defended the zero increase in Bedfordshire's police funding. The MP for Hemel and Policing Minister is standing by the Home Office's decision, but Bedfordshire's Police and Crime Commission is warning it's a risk to public safety. What was the phrase he used, Catherine? A funding Armageddon?
Yes.
There we go. It's a funding Armageddon. And he said that if there is serious terrorist plots involving Luton, the responsibility is the government and not that of the ridiculously overstretched and under-resourced Bedfordshire Police. Well, Rick Muir is the director of the Police Foundation, an independent think tank, and joins me now. Morning, Rick.
Morning.
Is Ollie Martins right to feel so aggrieved, do you think?
Yes, I mean, I think that historically it does appear that Bedfordshire has done quite badly out of the police funding formula, and I think that's largely because you've got a county which has elements of it which are quite rural, but then also somewhere like Luton, which has many of the characteristics of an inner London borough, for example, in terms of diversity, in terms of crime levels and so on. And so the way the funding formula works probably hasn't helped somewhere like Luton, which has particular policing pressure. So I think he does have a point.
Ollie Martins and other members of the Bedfordshire Police were almost convinced that this new way of funding, this new way of calculating, would work in their favour, and they were all, I mean, gutted is, I think, an appropriate... They were gutted when this fund... Does anyone know how this new funding system actually works?
Well, not really, because the government hasn't published the details, and they've spoken to some of the police and crime commissioners privately about it, and so we've had things leaked out. But I mean, it's very complicated because some of it's allocated according to deprivation indicators, some of it's according to nighttime economy indicators. Some of it's about how many people there are. So it's actually very hard to work out who will do well and who will do better from this funding formula. And police funding, historically, some areas have just had historically better deals. And so, there's a whole sort of load of historical baggage here as well. And some areas use the council tax more to raise more of their police funding, other areas don't. So it's actually really, really hard to understand why different forces have different amounts of government grants.
Have I got this right? The part of the problem is that Bedfordshire Bedfordshire Police is categorised as being a rural force, even though it does have places like Luton, which, as we know, and I'm trying to tread really carefully because I don't want to, create panic, but we know that forces have their eyes on for potential terrorist activities, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, there are particular sort of areas of the country where there are particular, serious crime issues that need to be a focus. And I think the point that Ollie Martins is making is that that's not been taken into account in this formula. And so he's saying that, we're going to need extra support from elsewhere, from the Met and from other parts of the country if we have serious pressures. And so I think that's a fair point to make. I mean, one of the most fundamental problems with all of this is that we really don't understand demand on policing. We don't understand the nature of all the new crime threats that the police face in terms of cybercrime, in terms of, child sexual exploitation, all of these issues, a lot of which are hidden. And so we don't actually really understand what the demands on the police are, never mind how much money they should get. So it's really hard, actually, to have a proper funding formula if you don't have the right data to base it on.
The PCCs, when they were introduced, it was not meant to be political, and yet, quite quickly the flags came out. there is a chance with Ollie Martins having a Labour background, Mike Penning obviously being a Tory, there is a chance that this the whole thing could become even more political.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a bit of politics involved in policing anyway. I mean, there was before the introduction of police and crime commissioners. So yeah, I mean that is a risk. But I mean, the government has introduced this system. It's bedded down. Labour says it would keep it. I can't see it changing now. So we're going to have these elections next year, and certainly the issue of how much money there is for police officers, which means we've got cuts in numbers of PCSOs, officers all around the country. That is going to be a very hot topic, and clearly the political parties are going to be battling over it.
There've been big cuts, more cuts to come. Can the police effectively do their job with all of these cuts they've endured and the ones they will have to endure?
Well, it's becoming very, very difficult. I think there's a real risk that neighbourhood policing is just really withering on the vine now. So, we're moving back to a very responsive form of policing, police officers responding to calls rather than being proactive and being out in the community. And there's also a real risk that we've got a rise in more complex areas with all of the, awful issues around historic child abuse allegations and so on. This is, there's about 70,000 of those allegations being investigated, historic allegations this year. Now, you can imagine that is a huge pressure on the police, which wasn't there before, and yet their funding was being cut. So we've got less money, but rising demand in areas of very complex work for the police. So it's going to really be very, very difficult for policing over the next 2 years.
Rick, I appreciate your time this morning. Fascinating stuff. Nice to chat to you. Rick Muir, the Director of the Police Foundation. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number. BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the Trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning.
On the M25 anti-clockwise, 2 lanes have been closed between junction 22 at junction 19 for Watford, causing delays from junction 22 for St Albans, and that's also causing delays on the A405 at the Park Street roundabout. It's also busy on the anti-clockwise M25 between junction 16 for the M40 and 15 for the M4 at the Thorney interchange. On the M1, it's slow southbound from junction 10 for Luton Airport to 9 for Redbourne, and it's also looking busy on the North Orbital Road between the Park Street roundabout and turning for the M1. On the train departure board, there's no reported problems at the moment, but there are delays on the Metropolitan line if you're using that this morning. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. 7:15, Monday the 12th of October. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Policing Minister, Mike Penning, says a formula which gives no extra funding to Bedfordshire Police is fair, robust and transparent. A murder trial will begin today over the death of 19-year-old Shahana Uddin, whose body was found at her home in Watford. And Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton just gets duller and duller by the day.
Sit back and relax. I want to tell you a story. This Friday, our short story season launches here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
The sunlight suddenly shone too brightly.
A season dedicated to great stories written by you.
Veins rippled innocently on the turquoise floor of the pool.
And brought to life by us.
The sultry afternoon air suffocated us in its heavy blanket.
Short story season starts this Friday with Nick Coffer here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, 03459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. As the sunlight dappled through the trees below, my heart ached for the love which I would never touch again. The fish in the meadow were swimming happily along, and all I could think of was her hair. Just doing a short story, hang on. By the time the clock struck 6, she would be in Brighton, and I would never see her again. Still, I always had the sandwich. I'd always have the sandwich. Yeah, I can do short stories. I'm probably have a go at that.
I want to know more about the sandwich. Was it pulled
No,
pork
this is the thing. No. The thing with the thing with short stories, guys, and this is. I'm genuinely a big fan of short stories, right? Bit of Twain, bit of Vonnegut, all these. The thing with the short stories, you just have to leave questions.
Can I do one then?
Yeah, sure. Go on. Hang on. There we go. There we go.
As the autumn leaves fell, her mind stretched back across the years to the rusty old terrier she used to walk in that same park. He'd slipped his collar all those years ago, and she never saw him again.
Hey, this is fun, isn't it? Kels, do you want to have a go?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
here we
why
go.
not?
There we go. Go.
It was dark, and she was alone. She was always alone. She had no mates. But everyone was there, was watching her. Alone.
I'm in. I want to do. When's Nick doing short stories? I'm in. I want to enter.
Never enough.
No, and the thing is, what I'm going to do. You're buzzing, by the way.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do.
Buzzing.
I'm buzzing. I'm mad for it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do what. Not Richard Pryor. Not.
No, don't do what you
Robin
did.
Williams. No, the fat lad with the glasses. His son's a paedophile. Ronnie Barker. I'm going to do what Ronnie. It's a fact. I'm going to do what Ronnie Barker did when he submitted sketches for the Two Ronnie. I'm going to use a pseudonym.
What are you going to use?
Kelly Betts.
Good one.
So I'm going to start an email account, kellybetts@yahoo.co.uk.
Taken.
Kellybetts69@yahoo.co.
Taken.
Kellybetts69@gmail.com.
Taken.
Kellybetts69@hotmail.
All the 69s are taken.
Okay, right. Well, I'm going to come up with I'm going to enter a short story because it's got to have an air of mystery. They can be They can also be meaningless.
We heard there.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say, if anything, I would say Kelly's had too much meaning.
Well, she was alone, but she was with people.
Yeah,
I've got a joke.
Gosh.
Aye.
You're too tall to tell a short story.
Why?
Because you're too tall.
Well, I'll take you to court.
Tallest.
Take you to court for that, mate. Would you say that to a black man?
Oh, no, only if he was tall.
Okay, no, fair play. Okay, fair play. All right, yeah, no, that's good, that. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Bedford Borough Council are clamping down on disabled blue badge fraud. A man has been fined for using his son's blue badge to park in St Paul's Square, and a care manager has also been fined for tampering with the date on the blue badge. The council says their corporate fraud team will continue working with officers to do more spot checks. Well, Councillor Michael Headley is the portfolio holder for finance at Bedford Borough Council. Morning, Michael. Why the clampdown?
Good morning. Well, it's very important. We won't tolerate fraud. The council will not tolerate fraud, as I'm sure you'd expect. And particularly in these cases, it's not just the taxpayer that's losing out. It's also those disabled people who need the badges who are losing the facility because of the people who are abusing it.
Well, they're losing the parking spaces. They're not losing the badges, are they?
No, they're losing the parking spaces, exactly. They're being taken up, in these cases, by people who are fraudulently using them.
But you go back, so it's to save money, is it?
No. It's not to save money. It's to make sure the facility is there for those people that need the facility.
But you mentioned the parking space, but before that you also mentioned it's because it's wasting taxpayers' money.
Well, yes, because clearly what happens is we will not tolerate fraud. Most taxpayers are honest and do the correct thing, and there's a minority there's a cheating, and we will not tolerate that. And I'm sure most taxpayers would expect us to take that.
So you're trying to save the taxpayer money.
Well, in some cases that will be the case, but clearly the whole point is people should not be cheating the system.
Because how much does it take? How much does it cost to take someone to court?
Well, if you win, clearly the costs can be awarded against the person. In the case that you quote there, the person was total cost the person had to pay was £1,000, right. And that included costs and victim surcharge and other court costs. In that case.
Are there not more important things you should be doing?
Well, there are lots of things we do, and this is one of them. In fact, I think your listeners will agree that tackling fraud is a very important point. They wouldn't expect the council to let people get away with committing fraud.
But it's just in the great scheme of things, though. I mean, so someone gets to park a little bit closer to Tesco, or they get to park in the council car park for free. I mean, I just worry that it kind of makes you, and I've not really thought this through properly. I'm just kind of thinking out loud, and I'm sure you'll indulge me in this, Michael. It just feels like it's a good thing to come out and say, "Hey, we're stopping blue badge fraud." But I mean, is really anyone really that bothered about it?
I think people are, and they certainly should be.
Why should they be? Tell me why they should be, Michael.
Well, I think one of our primary motivations is that the facilities the council provides, taxpayer-funded facilities like car parks, should be available for, particularly the disabled bays we're talking about, should be available for those people who need them.
But they are, aren't they? I mean, there are loads of disabled bays in public car parks, aren't there? It's very, very rarely, if at all, that people are struggling to find a disabled parking bay.
Well, there are certainly some cases where some areas that can get very, very, very busy. I think that's not always the case. That there's
I mean, you could if you wanted to help disabled people.
The bay nearest a particular shop you want to go to, maybe one that's being abused.
Yeah, it's language like that, abused. That I just kind of think it's really. I don't know. It just.
Isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not massive. You know, it's not costing millions.
Well, I think they are going to stand up for themselves. I don't think the taxpayer would expect us to tolerate any level of.
It must be costing you money to chase these people.
Yes, I mean clearly there are people involved in enforcing this. So this would be the.
What's the cost? What's the cost? What's the cost to Bedford Borough Council for chasing these people?
Well, there's two things here. One is the cost of enforcing it, and a lot of that is done by the traffic enforcement people who are out there anyway.
Right. You're the holder for the portfolio holder for finance. So what's the cost? What's the cost to chase someone, find someone, catch them at it, and prosecute them? What's the cost?
Well, as I say, I think if we're successful in a prosecution, the cost can be awarded to the person involved. I mean, it's a case of just collecting the evidence and taking them to court. It's not a huge court case that you might see on some of the television programmes. It's a fairly straightforward.
How do you catch these fraudsters?
Well, there's traffic enforcement people, as we've talked about, will go around and inspect the badges as they're doing their everyday job. And then occasionally we have a very proactive approach where we go on a particular day and just go out and focus on checking blue badges. And it was the last one of those that 162 badges were checked. And out of those, 4 had parking fines given to them, 5 had their badges seized, 2 had cautions, and 1 was prosecuted.
What were the cautions for?
Well, the cautions for similar offences to the prosecution.
Why weren't they prosecuted? Why did you let those ones go?
Well, no, as you'd expect, at any sort of case like this, each case is on its merits. There's a public.
Well, I would expect if someone was committing fraud, as you said, if you people are committing fraud, then surely the public, as you said, expect them to be prosecuted instead of just, having a finger wagged at them.
Well, as I'm sure you're aware, take anything to a court case, you look at the public interest in that, and each case is turned on its merits with the mitigating factors. But as I would add, it is much more common that we prosecute and give a caution.
Those cautions, were the blue badges confiscated?
Yes.
The thing is, though, I mean, this woman who got done because she changed the date. That was dumb, because that's obvious. You're going to change the date. You've got no idea, have you, how prolific this is?
Well, changing the date. We've had 3 of those.
Yeah. But I mean, blue badge fraud in blue. I'm not just changing the date. I mean, that's stupid, because that's obvious that the date's been changed. But you've got no idea, because you can go and buy these blue badges. You can fill in the forms fraudulently. You can borrow your mates. You've got no idea, have you, how many of these are being used fraudulently?
Well, there has been an international study, a European study. It could be up to 20%, but obviously that's an academic exercise.
So you haven't got a clue.
Clearly there is fraud out there, and we're doing everything we can to catch that.
OK, thank you, Michael. I appreciate your time.
No problem.
Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Michael Headley, portfolio holder for finance at Bedford Borough Council. I just kind of think, do you know what? I'm just thinking this out loud, so thank you, Michael, for indulging me there. I appreciate it. I'm kind of kicking these ideas around outside my head, as we often do on this show. I just kind of think, actually, It's very easy, isn't it, to think that that people who use blue badges fraudulently are the devil's spawn. There's that great episode of Seinfeld where George parks in a disabled bay, or as they say in America, a handicap bay. And when he comes back, there is a mob around his car with flaming torches saying, "We gotta they in the end they vandalise his car because they're so outraged. Parking in a disabled bay when you're not meant to, I mean, we're kind of brought up to be angry and furious. And I've had the thing where I've been with my mum and we had a blue badge and someone took the last bay and they weren't meant to. But if you go to Tesco's, there's loads of disabled bays. Does it really make a difference if someone parks there and they're not meant to? If someone's using the badge and they get an hour's free parking at the local car park?
Well, if there's an alternative, why would you do that?
I just think there are in the great scheme of things, in terms of crimes and frauds. Facebook paid £4,000 corporate tax last year. Do you know what that's? I mean, that's a big thing. Someone going and get an hour's free parking in the car park. I don't know.
What if you went to park in a space with your mum?
Yeah.
And you saw somebody just happily skip into the car.
Don't know what
park,
don't know what the disability is.
There were no spaces.
You don't know what the disability is.
No, but if it was fraud.
Well, how would I know it was fraud?
They're just skipping fraudulently.
I wouldn't be bothered because she's not got a blue badge anymore, because the form you have to fill in is a flipping nightmare.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, there are long delays anti-clockwise approaching junction 19 for Watford from junction 22 for St Albans because of a 5-car accident where 2 lanes are closed at junction 19 for Watford, and that's also causing delays from the Park Street roundabout. On the M1, it's slow southbound between junction 10 for Luton Airport and 9 for Redbourne, and it's busy on the A1M southbound around junction 7 for Stevenage as well, and the Park Street on Parks... Oh no, I've said that. On the Metropolitan line, there are severe delays because of a signal failure at Finchley Road, but people are being advised to use the Jubilee line instead. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sam. We've got a text here. You've obviously never had a problem trying to park when you have a wheelchair to unload when all the bay's taken up. Yeah, I have. I'm just thinking out loud here. I just think in the great scheme of things, it's easy to demonise these people and kind of shame them and go, "Oh, you've done something awful." But I mean, is it really that awful?
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines. The Conservative MP for Hemel and Minister for Policing Mike Penning is defending the zero increase in Bedfordshire's police grant. He says the new formula for deciding funding is fair, robust and transparent. 7 people will stand trial today for the murder of a 19-year-old woman in Watford. Shahana Udin died at a home in Leavesden Road last October. And the campaign for Britain to stay in the European Union is being launched this morning. Britain Stronger in Europe warns that leaving the EU would be a leap in the dark. The weather will be mainly dry with sunshine today, turning cloudy this afternoon though. Temperatures on the chilly side around 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sport.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton is now just 1 win from his 3rd world title after winning the Russian Grand Prix.
Well done, Lewis. Great job, mate.
Guys, thank you so much for everything you do. And the car was really special to drive today. I feel incredibly privileged to be a part of this team. Thank you.
And the victory means Mercedes have won the Constructors' Championship. On to football, and Phil Jagielka will captain the England side against Lithuania in their final Euro 2016 qualifier this evening. Northern Ireland, who've already confirmed their place at next summer's tournament, drew 1-1 away to Finland. But the Republic of Ireland's hopes of automatic qualification were dashed. They were beaten 2-1 by Poland in Warsaw. Stevenage have moved up to 20th in League Two after a 3-3 draw at Exeter. Manager Teddy Sheringham says they make a strong start.
I think it was a good performance apart from perhaps 2 or 3 lapses of concentration. It's a sloppy start after, 1, 2, 3 minutes to go behind, So apart from that, we got into the game early on and we passed it nicely and opened them up a little bit. Didn't take our chances, and the second was just a killer blow that was just very harsh, I felt, at the time. But when you don't start good enough, that's what happens.
In golf, Matt Fitzpatrick claimed his first European Tour title, winning the British Masters at Woburn. He finished 15 under par, 2 shots clear of the field.
Unbelievable, yeah, speechless to be fair. It's probably been the best day ever, I'd say, yeah. It's unbelievable. Probably the best day of my life, yeah.
And that's BBC Three Counties News and Sport with more at 8 o'clock.
An effervescing elephant with tiny eyes and great big trunk once whispered to the tiny ear, the ear of one inferior, that by next June he'd die. Oh yeah, because the tiger would roam. The little one said, oh my goodness, I must stay at home. And every time I hear a growl, I'll know the tiger's on the prowl, and I'll be really safe, you know. The elephant, she told me so. Everyone was nervy, oh yeah, and a message was spread to zebra, mongoose, and the dirty hippopotamus, who wallowed in the mud and chewed his spicy hippoplankton food and tended to ignore the word, preferring to survey a herd of stupid water bison. Oh yeah, and all the jungle took fright and ran around for all the day and the night, but all in vain, because you see the tiger came and said, who, me? You know, I wouldn't hurt not one of you. I much prefer something to chew, and you're all too scant. Oh yeah, he ate the elephant.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now that's what I mean. 03459 455 555.
That's what I mean.
That's what I mean.
That's what I mean.
No, that's what I mean.
That's what I mean.
That's what I mean.
That's what I mean.
It's disgusting.
That's what I mean.
There we go. It sends us a psychedelic mess there. 03459 455 555. Dennis!
Good morning, Ian.
Good morning, Dennis. The earth says hello. You twinkle above us, we twinkle below. Good morning, Dennis. Our early morning sing. I lost it a little bit, Dennis, but we got there in the end, didn't we? We got there in the end, didn't we?
Yes, you did.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. Yes?
A short story for Kelly.
Oh.
Because she's one story short.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh. And off he goes, chuckling into the sunset there. I mean, anybody? Anybody? Does anybody know what the hell that's about?
Ooga zaga, ooga zaga, ooga zaga, ooga zaga.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed.
I'd like to water, please.
Hey!
I'd like to water, please.
I'm not bringing him back in again. That's never happening. Outrageous behaviour. Hello? It's good to have you back. It's a car crash today, but it doesn't matter. Justin.
Morning, boss. Just having a cheeky vape.
Oh, good for you. How's it going?
Very, very well indeed, thank you, boss. Very well indeed.
What flavour are you sucking down today?
Cigarette flavour. I don't understand.
Delicious bags.
Absolutely. So some people say, "Oh, have some of this. It's strawberries and cream." Listen, if I wanted a dessert, I would go into Tesco and buy myself some Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
You buy yourself some what?
Haagen-Dazs. Haagen-Dazs.
Okay.
Is that okay with you?
That's absolutely fine with me, yes.
You're going to start picking on my German pronunciation, are we? Yes? Yes?
Ja, jawohl, mein Herr. Jawohl, mein Herr. Ja.
I've got a lot of very good German friends, and they enjoy my style and my
they
uniqueness.
Yes. Now, listen, important story we've got here today. Princess Diana's hair is up for sale on Amazon. Not even the eBay. It's on Amazon. Yep. £800. I don't see a problem with that.
It's sick.
Oh, come on, is it sick? Why
it is sick, and you know it's sick.
No, I don't think it's sick at all.
If you know that person, okay, and you had a relationship with that person, absolutely fine.
No.
But if you didn't know that person, that is just, I'm sorry, that's weird.
No, because she is not a normal person. She was not a normal person.
Yeah, no, I go along with
that.
She
was a celebrity. She was once you're in the world of celebrity, I'm afraid, guys, I'm sorry to say it, it's open season. Yeah, of course it is. You can buy.
No.
You can go to auction houses around the world, and you'll find a piece of toast. There was, I remember this a few years ago. There was a piece of toast that George Harrison had bitten into. It was all mouldy. That was selling for like $20,000. Beautiful. Seriously.
Yeah, but that's quite amusing. The other week I was in Nando's in Boreham Wood.
Yeah.
And who's the ginger kid from EastEnders at the moment? He's playing quite a big role in
I haven't seen EastEnders for about 15 years. Is that
he
still
looks
going?
like, yeah, it's still going. He looks a bit like my good mate Forbesy.
Yeah.
And he was having chicken at the next table, and I was tempted to go and take the chicken bone and put that on eBay. But that's a bit of fun. We're talking about somebody's hair here. That's just sad and that's horrible.
No, it's not horrible. That's just, you know, celebrities. That's the price of being a celebrity. Is bits and pieces of your. You can buy John Lennon's fingernails.
Yeah, but again, it's weird. It's wrong.
It's weird. No. It's weird. Yeah. 50-50 on that. Yes, it's weird. No, it's not wrong.
Okay.
You've taken it to the streets, Steely. What do people have to say?
I have. It got very tense when I went up to one man and said, "You look like an investor." It got very tense at that point. Mixed views on this one. Here's what the streets had to say.
Absolutely crazy.
Why is it crazy?
I think people will buy anything.
So you wouldn't be interested in?
Not at all.
Well, it's a piece of history, surely, isn't it?
Well, it's a piece of dead history.
So you look like an investor. Would you be interested?
I'm not an investor.
Okay. It's just, would you
No,
buy
I'd rather not, thank you.
Okay.
Can you just leave me alone to get on with my job?
Okay.
Awful, isn't it? Really awful. Yeah.
So you wouldn't be tempted to buy it for yourself or a family member? I mean, Christmas coming up.
No.
It is sick, isn't it?
It is, indeed. It is.
I don't believe it. Is it really on sale?
It is.
A real hair?
Yes.
Can I ask who you are?
J-Dog.
Fair enough. £800. I suspect it will go for more.
Would you be interested?
Certainly not.
Why not? I mean, somebody's going to buy it. Why not you?
Yeah, well, I'm not mad. Not at the moment, anyway.
So you've got to be mad to buy a piece of history?
Well, you can call it a piece of history or you can call it a bit of hair. I mean,
it's both.
Yeah, you suppose you could. Can you prove it's her hair? Kind of thing.
Okay, if you had proof, 100% proof it was her hair, would you then be interested?
No.
No, people need to leave her alone. She was a great person and people just need to leave her alone.
What do you think about the person who's got hold of that hair and they're selling it? If you could sit down with that person right now and have a cup of tea, fry breakfast, maybe a bit of black pudding in there as well, what would you say to that person?
Think about if it was a member of your family. Think about if it was your mum's hair. How would that make you feel?
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
I'm with you on this one. Thanks for your time, madam.
That's all right.
Sir, for £800, you can buy a piece of Princess Diana's hair. Would you be interested?
No, not at all.
What do you think about the person who has got hold of that and they're selling it online?
Sick.
If you came face to face with them, would you give them a slap? Would you teach them a lesson?
Nah, it's not worth it.
I don't think. I mean, in the great scheme, it's just a bit of harmless fun, isn't it? It's just a bit of harmless fun.
I think it's taking it too far. I think, if it comes to something that she signed, if it's a dress of hers, that's different. But a piece of hair, that's so personal. I think that's overstepping the line.
But buying a piece of her clothing is okay. Well, how have you come to that?
Well, I'm not being funny, but that piece of clothing has come from a shop. Somebody's designed it. You're talking about somebody's actual hair.
Yeah, but it's not taken from her body when she was dead. It was taken from her body when she, obviously, at one point.
Well, yes, it's from her, isn't it?
Yeah, but not when she was dead.
No, I know, but it's too personal.
Okay, we're going to throw it out there, Justin. We'll come. The paper's very, very dry again. We'll come up with something for the last hour, boss. Speak to you in a bit.
Take care, boss.
Ta-ta. 03459 455 555 is the phone number. Have you got any texts that we can read?
Let's have a look. Let's have a little look and see what we've got. They've closed down, so...
there's a surprise.
Well, yeah. But this happens when we let them lie idle for a while.
OK, well, while you're doing that... So Marks & Spencer's is selling Christmas puddings. All right, fair enough. But they've got a best before by the October the 20th. I thought Christmas puddings could last forever. That's what Christmas pudding is. It lasts forever.
You're supposed to booze them up, aren't you?
And also, Christmas puddings, I mean, they are flipping horrible.
Yuck.
If you're already stocking up on tasty treats for... Although the older it's an old person's dessert. The older I get, the more I'll have a little taste of it. Well, you're an old woman, Catherine. That would explain that. If you're already stocking up on tasty treats for Christmas, be sure to check the dates on the packets, especially if you shop in Marks and indeed the Spencer. The store has been caught selling mini Christmas puddings with a best before date of October the 20th. And then it adds here, weeks before Christmas. Yeah, we know. I kind of know how the calendar works. It means they will probably be safe to eat after this date. but they might be stale upon the... No, Chris, I would... This is my advice and the official advice of the BBC. Buy these will be fine. These will last forever. Described as rich all butter puddings made with juicy vine fruits. Oh, jeez. Brandy and glacé cherries. They were not the only products displaying a limited shelf life. Other festive treats include shimmering snowy road bites. Well, what's that got? That's not necessarily a traditional Christmas thing.
No.
And mini Christmas cake bites mark November the 17th. The customer who spotted these, who asked not to be named... Oh, for crying out loud. What are you worried about? Said, I went shopping in Marks and Spencer's in Westfield, Stratford City in East London and saw the mini puddings on 3 for 2 offer. I was hoping to keep them until Christmas Day, but noticed they had a best before date of late October. Well, just go and buy them in a month's time, you puddings. It's lucky I saw the date because it would have been a bit embarrassing to serve stale puddings to my family on Christmas Day. Well, do you know what I mean? Oh, flipping it. People need their hands held when they go shopping. They really do. I mean, it's just... And all this, they want to put colour coding on food to know what food is healthy and what food is not healthy.
You know, if it's got cake in the title, it's probably not a diet
thing. If it's cake or chips, it's probably bad. If it's anything else, it's probably all right. Morning, Mary.
Hiya.
People need their hands held when they go shopping, don't they?
Sorry. Of course they do, yes.
Yes, of course. What have you got for us, Mary?
Well, quite a good segue, actually.
Oh, go on.
I was in Tesco.
Beautiful.
Sorry, local supermarket.
Well, okay.
With my granddaughter.
You're not about to slag them off, are you?
No.
Then beautiful. In that case, you're allowed to say Tesco.
Oh, right. Okay, then. And my granddaughter wanted to go to the toilet, so I took her to the toilet, and there was a bit of a queue.
Yes.
So someone came in next to me and my granddaughter, so I turned and I said, oh, hello, as you do.
Yeah.
Light and everything. And then I sort of had a second take. I looked again, and then I sort of looked down, and it was a man.
What? Hang on a minute. What were you looking down at?
At the floor, because I was sort of starting to giggle a bit.
Right. But dressed up as a lady?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, and a big respect to all
that.
Well, they often don't, but a big respect to all of our transvestite and transsexual listeners. But this is an interesting thing, and they were using the ladies' toilets.
Yeah, and I didn't think that was appropriate.
There's a head scratcher, isn't it?
It is. I mean, came in with a suitcase. Whether he had his men's clothes in the suitcase, I don't know. But
at what point? Let's assume this poor soul was going for the gender realignment, okay, and so was going to have the chop.
Yeah.
At what point in their burgeoning career as a woman would they be entitled to use the ladies' toilets? Would you suggest?
I don't know.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because if they are going for the full gender realignment, then they have to live the life, and they're choosing to live, and they are encouraged to live the life of a woman.
Yes, and that's fine. But
apart from the lavies.
No, I mean, excuse me, have you had the full realignment? Or,
yes.
Or have you still got your bits? Because
yes.
If you've still got your bits, you have to go in the men's toilet.
Mary, there's an interesting dilemma. At what point does a transsexual stop using the gentlemen's toilets and make the transition to the ladies?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, there's a lane closed anti-clockwise at junction 19 for Watford because of an accident earlier, and that's causing delays from junction 22 for St Albans, and it's also causing problems on the A505 from the Park Street roundabout in St Albans. On the M1, it's slow southbound from junction 10 for Luton Airport to 9 for Redbourne, and it's also very busy on the A1M southbound, looking at speed sensors around junction 7 for Stevenage. On the A10, it's slow southbound from Enfield from Bullsmore Lane towards Southbury Road through the roadworks there just after Carter Hatch Lane, and if you're using the trains, there's no reported problems there on the departure boards, but there are problems on the underground. The Piccadilly line has severe delays between Cockfosters and Acton Town, and there are severe delays on the Metropolitan line because of a signal failure earlier on at Finchley Road. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Sammy. 7:46, weather coming up in a second, but before that, these are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The policing minister, Mike Penning, says a formula which gives no extra funding to Bedfordshire Police is fair, robust and transparent. A murder trial will begin today over the death of 19-year-old Shahana Uddin, whose body was found at her home in Watford. And Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton is on the verge of a third world title. Whoop-de-doo.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. We've got locally quite a chilly start to the day. We've got sort of 3 degrees across parts of Buckinghamshire at the moment. Elsewhere, sort of 6s and 7s, really. There is a bit of cloud around today. There'll always be more cloud around than we saw yesterday, but still some good spells of sunshine. The sun's up now, of course, and we're looking at top temperatures of only around sort of 13 or 14 Celsius. That's 57 in Fahrenheit. So it is going to feel quite cool today. Add to that a bit of a wind chill as well with a northeasterly wind. It's quite a chilly wind and exposure to it. It'll feel quite cool at times. So a dry day today. We may just see a few showers as we head into this evening towards northern home counties in particular. Those showers are going to tend to be really quite light though. And then as we head into this evening and overnight, most places turning dry. There will be some cloud around, some clear spells, temperatures down to probably between around 5 and 7 degrees. So it will be quite a chilly night. Again, most places staying dry. The risk of a few light showers towards northern parts again, in particular as we head through tomorrow morning. There will be quite a lot of cloud. There will be some brightness, some spells of sunshine, always feeling quite cool in that breeze, which is going to strengthen through tomorrow, and knock a degree or so off those temperatures for tomorrow as well. So a little bit cooler, highs of around 12 or 13 Celsius, 55 in Fahrenheit. It's going to stay quite cool for the rest of the week. Most places dry for most of the time with some spells of sunshine, always quite a lot of cloud. That's the forecast.
Thank you very much.
Nick Coffer on BBC Three Counties Radio.
History coming up very shortly with the brilliant Dan Hill. He's a local historian.
Silversworth, amongst other things, has got quite a rich history. As it's further east, there is a lot more influence with regards to things like air raids.
Weekdays from 12.
Great music as well coming up here on BBC Three Counties Radio. Freddie Mercury, The Great Pretender. Go West as well on its way. First though, here's T-Rex.
Nick Coffer.
You know, it's fantastic to be able to get, people like Nathan Bell and Gary Matthew and, experienced but still early on in their careers, giving them the opportunity to come and make music in a lovely environment. Luton Library Theatre.
Could you describe modern Britain in 50 records? Stuart McConey is doing just that in his book.
I don't think you're ever going to get another Beatles who dominate the pop cultures.
Nick Coffer, weekdays from 12 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's been a long ride. Hello, Sean?
Yeah, hello.
It's been a long ride, but I can now do Stuart McConey, so that's great news for everybody concerned. Morning, Sean. What you got for us?
Christmas pudding.
Yes, boss.
5 years old. 5 years old. My Christmas pudding was.
What do you mean? Hang on. Hang on a minute. This is the worst line in the world. Your Christmas pudding was 5 years old.
Yeah, my mum used to make Christmas puddings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give you a Christmas pudding. You got to let it. You got to keep topping it up with whiskey or brandy or whatever it is you want.
Yeah.
For about a year, and then when you get to Christmas dinner, often you're a little bit too full up, so you don't tend to eat it.
No, of course not.
Back up, kept it for next year. 3 years running that happened. But that pudding was 5 years old when we ate it. It was amazing.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, because you basically you pickled it, haven't you? It's so full of booze, it would last forever.
Absolutely, it was brilliant. 5 years old.
But Sean, really, the Christmas pudding, is there anything more disgusting than a Christmas pudding? It's horrible. Sean, thank you, mate.
Boys are back in town.
It's just, it's such an unpleasant dessert to have. I'll just have the custard and the ice cream, please, Mum. Is that okay? Okay, here we go. The last hour of the show. Grown-up foods that only grown-ups did. Right, so we've got... we've got the Christmas pudding. I'm going to write this down. Hang on a second. The Christmas pudding. The boozy trifle. Sweet Lord, those things are hideous. Other grown-up foods, Catherine?
Blue cheese.
Yeah, the blue cheese. The kids think it looks fun. It tastes disgusting. Oh, of course, spicy foods. But I mean like proper hot foods.
Here's
Chili
another
sauce.
one. Here's
Chili
another
sauce.
one.
Yes.
And you get the occasional kid that likes them, but they are weird or foreign.
Yeah. Oh.
Or both.
All right, Steve.
Olives. It's fruit, but it tastes like meat.
My kids like the olives.
There you go.
They're a quarter foreign. So,
and weird.
Yeah. Well, that's true, actually. Grown-up foods that only a grown-up can bear to stomach. I must be. Unfortunately, most of the stuff I eat, my kids will get their filthy paws on, and
Yeah, I did that baby-led weaning, which means that if it's on my plate, it's theirs.
they have to eat it. 03459 455 555, please. The grown-up foods that only an adult could possibly eat, that a child should never, ever go near. Now, the Royal College of Nursing is urging a rethink of immigration rules which could see them lose thousands of trained nurses. Under new government rules, any non-European nurse would have to leave the UK after 6 years if they're not earning at least £35,000. Exemptions are in place for some industries, including ballet dancers, important, the Russians are the best, but not nurses. Victoria Cooling is a senior officer for our region at the Royal College of Nurses. Morning, Victoria.
Good morning.
How big a threat is this to the nursing industry?
Well, it's going to have a massive effect on the nursing family. At the moment, we estimate that there's over 3,300 odd nurses that are in the country, non-EU nurses, who will have to leave the country after 6 years.
Why have we got so many foreign nurses?
Well, part of the problem is that we cut the number of nurse training places, but nursing has always been an international profession. We have always recruited overseas nurses. The NHS has a proud history of having overseas nurses, so it's not something new. It's always been there, but our nurses have never been under the threat of having to leave the country.
When will this come into effect? Do we know?
2017.
Okay. And is it going to be? I mean, if this does happen and this does go through, are we going to notice this in hospitals? Are we going to, are patients going to suffer?
We've got a nursing shortage at the moment. We have huge agency costs because we can't fill the places that we've currently got. So if we are sending 3,000 nurses home, back to their country of origin, then that's 3,000 nurses that we will be short, along with all of the nurses that we are already short of. And in the independent sector, the nursing home and care home sector, that's going to be hit as hard as the NHS is going to be hit.
Won't you just be able to replace them with other nurses from these countries? So it'll be like a rolling stock?
Well, that's not, if people sort of settle in this country and put down roots in this country, then just sort of saying, thank you very much for your time, but now can you just go back, just is outrageous.
How many nurses earn £35,000? I don't know what a nurse gets.
Very few nurses that are on the shop floor, so to speak, patient-facing, will earn that sort of money. I mean, a junior sister doesn't earn 35,000.
What if this does happen? Surely we should be encouraging more British nurses, shouldn't we?
Well, we have increased our student nurses, but you are looking at 3 years before they're trained. So therefore, and then the nurses that we've got, the overseas nurses that we've got, have usually got years of experience. So it's going to be a number of years before those very new students will be able to replicate exactly what the non-EU nurses are able to offer to the workforce.
Victoria, keep in touch with us and let us know how this goes. Now, let's keep our fingers crossed that somebody that comes to their senses and realises that we need you lot to keep doing what you do. So thank you very much, Victoria.
Thank you for raising it.
Thank you very much indeed, Victoria Cooling, Senior Officer for our region your region at the Royal College of Nurses. I'm not particularly local, actually, is it? I'm not.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
It'll make a difference. Authors buying fake reviews to be a bestseller on Amazon. Oh, hang on, Gatford's on the line. I've gone to him now. I shouldn't have gone. Yes, Gatford.
What? You're not very local, but you're very vocal.
Well, you'll be. We don't say that anymore.
Oh, okay,
that's being dropped. Apparently, we're getting new jingles. Yeah, we're sacking off thousands of people, but we've got new jingles coming, so that's awesome. That's going to turn it aroland. That's going to turn.
The BBC.
What music would you like underneath you? We call them beds.
Oh, bit of Dirty Slade.
Okay, we'll have. Okay. All right. What have you got for us, Gav? I just know that I've got to beef your calls up a bit because they're a little bit lightweight, aren't they?
Yeah, well, fair enough. I've got two foods that only adults eat.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're compiling the list of foods that only adults eat. Yes, sir. What have you got?
Number 1, dates.
Oh well, I don't know if anybody eats. Oh no. Now, do you?
No.
Actually, I don't know what a date is. Go on.
Well, it's a fruit, but you normally get them in those little containers and you pick them out one by one. Or that. See, this is what my nan used to do. So this is where I'm sort of getting it from.
Yeah. Okay. No, dates are on the list. Dates is on the list. Dates is the lists. Yes, go on.
Dates on the list. Let's see if we can get 2 on there.
Yeah.
Thin arrowroot biscuits.
Again, I don't know what a thin arrowroot biscuit.
Have you never heard? No, Kelly had never heard of them either.
No, because you've.
Surely Kath has.
Let's try Kath. Kath?
No.
There we go. You see, that's you're just you're doing what we're not encouraging people to do to Nick Coffer and send in fake short stories. You're sending in fake foods that kids won't eat.
Google it.
Here's the thing that okay, well, we can break this into categories, right? Things that kids won't eat, and things that people won't eat until they're really, really old. Here's something that people won't eat until they're really, really old. The pickled onion.
Oh yeah, no. Have you ever seen anyone do it in the fish and chip shop?
No, but I do love. I tell you what I love when I go for the fish and chips, right? I do love a pickled egg.
What? Why?
Oh, it's beautiful. I love a pickled egg. I tell you partly why I like it, because it comes in like a tiny little paper bag. Who makes the pickled egg paper bags?
I don't know. Do you want me to find out and get back to you?
Could you do that? Could you Google it?
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. Cheers.
I'll Google it and get back to you, yeah?
Ta-ta. Thank you, mate. Bye-bye.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are very long delays on the M25 anti-clockwise from junction 22 for St Albans to 19 for Watford because of a 4-car accident, and that's also affecting the A405 from the Park Street roundabout in St Albans. On the M1 it's slow southbound from junction 10 for Luton Airport to 9 for Redbourne, and in Caddington on the A5 it's also very slow from Lynch Hill towards the M1 at junction 9 for Redbourne too. It's very slow on the M40 heading from the Uxbridge towards the M25, and on the train departure boards the 807 service from Luton to Bedford's been cancelled, and on the London Underground the Piccadilly line has severe delays between Cockfosters and Acton Town because of a problem with the train at Manor House. That was Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. April's furious. We have to cross dates off of the list. Her 6.5-year-old eats those. Oh, who'd have thought this would be so controversial?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock, I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines. The policing minister defends Bedfordshire's funding cut. A man accused of murdering a 20-year-old in Luton to stand trial. And Lewis Hamilton just one victory from his 3rd world title.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The policing minister Mike Penning is defending the zero funding increase being given to Bedfordshire Police. The county's police commissioner Ollie Martin says it will risk public safety. Rick Muir from the independent think tank The Police Foundation says Bedfordshire appears to be getting a raw deal.
You've got a county which has elements of it which are quite rural, but then also somewhere like Luton, which has many of the characteristics of an inner London borough, for example, in terms of diversity, in terms of crime levels. And the way the funding formula works probably hasn't helped somewhere like Luton, which has particular policing pressures.
A man will stand trial today for the murder of 20-year-old Jordan Maguire in Luton. Mr Maguire was fatally stabbed at his home on the Marsh Farm estate in May 2013. 32-year-old Jason Nelson was arrested in Trinidad last October and extradited back to the UK. The campaign for Britain to stay in the European Union is being launched this morning. Britain Stronger in Europe warns that leaving the EU would be a leap in the dark. But the UKIP MP Douglas Carswell says the In campaign doesn't represent ordinary people.
Of course, the In campaign is going to look from the outset as if it's a little bit more uniform
That's because it's a product of lobbyists and corporatist boardrooms. It's therefore going to have a slightly slick feel to it. But, I think the strength of the Out campaign is that it's authentic.
A man from Bedford has been fined nearly £1,000 for misusing his disabled son's blue badge. Meanwhile, a woman from Bedford who tampered with the date on a blue badge has also been convicted of fraud. Liberal Democrat councillor Michael Headley, who's responsible for finance at Bedford Borough Council, says they won't stand for people breaking the law.
We won't tolerate fraud. The council will not tolerate fraud, as I'm sure you'd expect. And particularly in these cases, it's not just the taxpayer that's losing out. It's also those disabled people who need the badges who are losing the facility because of the people who are abusing it.
The wreck of a 600-year-old warship has been discovered on a riverbed near Southampton. It's believed to be the Holy Ghost, which was commanded by the Duke of Bedford. Jane Killick reports.
The Holy Ghost was one of the first big medieval warships to be built by Henry V and carried soldiers to fight in France during the 100 Years' War. In 1416, it was the flagship of the Duke of Bedford and got badly damaged when the British captured the French port of Harfleur. The wreck's been discovered in the River Hamble, where ships were broken up after they were no longer needed. Historic England is now assessing the site to see if it needs further protection.
In sport, Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton's now just one win from his third world title after winning the Russian Grand Prix. The victory means Mercedes have won the Constructors' Championship. And the weather, mainly dry with sunshine this morning, turning cloudy this afternoon. Temperatures around 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. You can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
Thank you, Lee. Morning. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Blue badges, in the great scheme of things, using your nan's blue badge to go and get some Benson and Hedges, is it really that bad? Foods that only adults eat. And £800 for a lock of Princess Diana's hair? Well, some people are saying it's sick. I'm saying it's a bargain. Bring it on. Unique. It's unique, isn't it? An American or a Japanese will buy it. It'll be an American or a Japanese. 03459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
The Hemel Hempstead MP and policing minister Mike Penning has defended the zero increase in Bedfordshire's police funding. But Police and Crime Commissioner for the county, Ollie Martins, has warned that the budget risks public safety. A funding Armageddon, he's called it. He said that if there is a serious terrorist plot involving Luton, the responsibility is the government and not that of the ridiculously overstretched Bedfordshire Police. Well, Emma Carter is from Bedfordshire Police Federation. Emma, how have the Police Foundation responded to the news that the funding is going to stay the same?
Yeah, good morning, Ian. To be honest, we're really shocked by it. We assumed, what with the makeup of Bedfordshire, in particular with Luton, we can compare it to an inner borough of London, that actually the formula, which is over 15 years old, being changed, would do nothing but increase and be able to help for us to get more police officers from the street. We're very disappointed.
Was it a little bit, and I hesitate to say this, was it a little bit arrogant to assume you were going to get more money? I know when we spoke to Ollie that he assumed he was going to get more money, and other members of Bedfordshire Police. It was never definite, was it? It was never said you would.
No, you're right. However, Mr. Penning had certainly indicated to Mr. Martin that we would be seeking an increase.
Right.
When you actually look at the makeup and the demand of what officers go to every single day now compared to when the funding formula was originally put in 15 years ago, there's no comparison, to be honest. The violence, the lack of numbers, the sheer demand that's placed on the police service every day is completely different.
Redundancies, do you think?
So you can't make police officers redundant, but certainly I would imagine that police staff's jobs will now be at risk. unfortunately, what happens there is that those police staff have been brought in to do a really important job to be able to free up the police officers to go and be on the front line and investigate and safeguard the public. Without them there, those jobs are vital. They'll still have to be done. That may well mean that the few police officers that we do have will now be taken off that front line and put into the back office jobs, which for me just defeats the object.
Should the public be concerned by this? Will they notice anything?
What I would say is I represent the police officers of Bedfordshire, and they are very hard-working. They care. They go out every single day, and they do their very best. And I have absolutely no doubt that my members will continue to do that and deliver the very best they can to try and get justice for Bedfordshire residents and reassure them. However, what will happen is that the teams will get smaller because people will leave and they won't be replaced. And also the recruitment drive may well be frozen, which in time will then impact on the numbers that are available to resource those jobs. So I think it's going to affect it.
We spoke to the Assistant Chief Constable, Mark Collins, last week, and he said that morale amongst the serving officers and constables and everyone in the police force, that morale was actually pretty decent. Is that right?
Things have got better because we have been recruiting. We've recruited over 100 police officers in the last 12 months, and that obviously makes a huge impact on the teams. And that is why I think morale has gone up, because the officers, if they call assistance, they now get that backup. And everyone wants to go out and do a good job. They don't want to have to do the bare minimum. That's not what they joined for. So I think that's why morale has gone up. But if we stop that, I don't know where we'll end up.
What was the mood like on Friday? Because this news broke at about 9:15 on Friday that you weren't going to get any more money. What was the mood like then?
A little bit of disbelief, to be honest. Obviously, if we get the funding, it wouldn't be an immediate overnight impact, but it would obviously helped recruitment in the future. So it was a little bit sombre, to be honest. But as I said, the frontline officers, those operational in uniform and those in CID and investigation roles, they will just continue to do their job and try to deliver what they can deliver because they care.
Emma, I appreciate your time this morning. Emma Carter from Bedfordshire Police Federation. Bernard Ricks is from Bedfordshire, as a former Home Office policing advisor. Morning, Bernard. Ollie Martins is well, I thought it was a little bit strange that he's brought out this kind of talk of he says if there's a serious terrorist plot involving Luton, it's the responsibility of the government and not that of Bedfordshire Police. Is he scaremongering a bit?
Well, if there were a serious incident or plot, then there would be mutual aid available from other forces. But actually, I think, if anything, the situation that Emma describes just now and the PCC is describing is going to get worse. We have a comprehensive spending review that will be announced in the early part of December, and the chances are at that point that Bedfordshire Police will find out that we're getting even less money than we currently are.
Do you understand how this new funding system works? But Mike Penning's saying it's transparent and clear. I've not spoken to anyone who knows how it works.
Well, I do actually know how it works, but it would bore your listeners, I'm sure.
Is it very dull in that case, Bernard? But you understand it, and in your opinion, it is fair and it follows a logical curve, does it?
Well, it certainly follows logic. Whether it's fair is another matter. There was a first iteration at it about 2 months ago. The forces and PCCs were invited to comment on that, and there have been some changes as a result. And the effect of that is not to change the amount of money that's going to be available to Bedfordshire. So lobbying has neither made things better nor made things worse. The formula's a bit different. But the net effect is that Bedfordshire is under a great deal of financial pressure, and things are not going to get better.
Funding is increased for Hertfordshire, but stayed the same in Bedfordshire. And there's collaboration between those two forces, isn't there? So it could be to the detriment of Hertfordshire if Bedfordshire are more dependent on them. Well,
Hertfordshire for many years have been fighting off a full merger with Bedfordshire. Bedfordshire is very much the poor relation. Hertfordshire is relatively well off. And what the position of those in charge of policing in Hertfordshire for many a year has been is that they don't want a full merger. Bedfordshire has effectively held on to the coattails of Hertfordshire in that time. And we've seen with a number of the changes, for example, in the number of control rooms in the three forces reducing from 3 to 2, and Bedfordshire being the one that loses its control room, that Bedfordshire has very few cards to play in this.
It's not really going very well for Ollie Martins, is it? He's had a tough 12, 18 months, hasn't he?
Well, with the precept vote, you may recall that there was a vote in Bedfordshire as to whether the amount of money that local taxpayers or local voters pay towards Bedfordshire would go up or not, and the decision was that it wouldn't. Now, ironically, the rumour is that the Home Office may well be about to loosen those restraints, that at some point in the near future there may be it may be possible for the PCC to decide to put the precept up more than 2%, which is the current limit. In that case, Ollie Martins will have had drawn a particularly short straw in that the election, or rather the precept vote, cost something of the order of £500,000.
Yeah.
That was then lost, and then the Home Secretary may well free those restraints or constraints so that the PCCs can raise the amounts freely without that need for the vote.
Is Ollie Martins cut out for this job, do you think?
Well, the voters will be able to determine that themselves in May next year. PCC elections in May, just a few months now. Shortly before that, PCCs will announce what their precept increase is going to be. At the moment, as I say, they are constrained to 2%. But in May, those in Bedfordshire will be able to decide who their next PCC will be.
Bernard, thank you very much indeed. Bernard Ricks from Bedfordshire, former Home Office policing advisor, 03459 455 555.
Local and vocal across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Linda's in Milton Keynes. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning.
What you got for us, boss?
About the police, they say that they're understaffed. You know what? They can't get to people's robberies and they can't attend this, can't attend that. In the village where I live, I've lived there just under 5 years, and the only bad thing that's happened is some little kid had their scooter stolen. Right, but regular they come round. Last week I went out. My car's five months old, and there was a off-road Jeep thing with two of them in there, and they was blatantly checking it out. Yeah. And I went out and I said, "What's going on?" And he mentioned me by my first name. He's obviously checked my car. He goes, "Oh, nothing to worry about." And it's like, really? And then you get the PCOs coming round, two up in a car, wanting to come in and have a chat about a load of rubbish when there's better things they can be. There is no criminal activities round here.
Right, but you're in Buckingham. Are you in Buckinghamshire or Bedfordshire?
Buckinghamshire.
Right. So there's no criminal activities round there.
No, not in this little bit where I live.
Well, aren't you lucky? Are you phoning up? Are you complaining that there's no criminal activity?
No, I'm complaining because I'm a taxpayer and they're just wasting my money.
Who's wasting?
Well, the police are, by just sitting there just checking out vehicles. It's 5 months old. You know what? There's nothing wrong with it. They've just got nothing else.
Oh, it was the police checking out your vehicle. I didn't pick up that part of the story.
Yeah. And there's you know what? There's better things they can be doing. It's like once a week down here they park up a van.
Well, hang on. Maybe that's why there's no crime round there, because you're lucky enough to get the police popping up once a week.
No, they normally park up on the market square once a week. It's normally once every week or once a fortnight.
That's good. That's good, isn't it?
No. There's three of them. They all sit in there chatting. They're outside. They put their plastic table out and they've got a board. And it says, if anyone would like to come and talk to us in confidence, please come over.
Right.
Now, obviously, if anyone has got anything to say, they're not going to go and climb in the back of the police van while everyone's looking. I think the police, do you know what? They should cut more of them. They should make them do more work. They drive around in their cars. Police are bullies today. They are bullies.
When was the last time? When was the last time you were bullied by a police officer?
About 15, just over 15 years ago when I was pregnant, pregnant with my daughter.
Okay, so how can you say that police officers are bullies today when you haven't been bullied for 15 years by a police officer?
You see it all the time on
Tell
the
me,
news.
Linda, when did you last see it then?
Well, I see it on the news all the time.
But that's different.
I saw someone getting bullied in Milton Keynes by two of them.
Okay, well, saying you saw it on the news is already different from saying, because you just said you see it all the time. I don't think I've ever...
see it all the time.
Well, where do you see it all the time, Linda?
What about that Asian boy that got beat up by him in Luton.
Well, okay, well, listen, we're not going to... There's a case going on investigating that.
What about the blind man who got stunned by one of them?
That was like That was like a year ago.
It doesn't matter. I bet he ain't forgot it.
No, but Linda, you're saying you see it all the time.
You do see it all the time.
No, you Linda.
You
don't see it all the time. No. Hang on a second. I'm not going to let you talk complete and utter balls. You don't see it all the time. There are a few select examples, but you don't see it all the time.
Okay. When I was 8 months pregnant with my daughter, I
15 years ago. I don't want to hear it. No, Linda. No, Linda. I don't want to hear a story from 15 years ago.
You're on there, guys.
No, Linda. I'm on the side of.
They should sack more of them. They should. They're all corrupt.
And there she goes. Another sign of an excellent example, a hit and run. I'm not on the side of the police. Yeah, some of the police are bent. Some of the police are dodgepots. Hillsborough, for crying out loud. Yeah, case you mentioned that's being investigated that we can't talk about. Yeah, the blind fella getting zapped by a taser. Yeah, all of those cases are terrible. But you can't say you see the police bullying people every day. Your only example is something you saw on the telly and an example that happened to you 15 years ago. And you're angry that you see them in your village every other week? Wow. If you want to comment on what Linda's had to say, 03459 455 555. Let's get the Trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's very slow on the M25 anti-clockwise because at junction 19 for Watford, a lane's closed while exit's being recovered, and that's causing delays from junction 22 for St Albans, but it's also affecting the A405 from the Park Street roundabout. On the M40 from the Denham roundabout towards the M25, it's looking very slow, and it's busier than usual on the M1 southbound between the London Gateway services and junction 2 for the A1 at the Five Ways corner. In Watford on Beach and Grove, that's looking very busy around Escort Grove, and in Chiswell Green on the North Orbit Road, it's very slow around the Shell roundabout on Watford Road. In Marston Mortain on the A41, there are queues in both directions at Beancroft Road because of the roadworks. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. I would suggest, I'm not suggesting this about Linda. Okay, so let's put Linda to one side. But surely you would only want less police officers around and less police officers doing their job and less police officers in your town or village if you were bent, if you were a crook. I'm not in any way suggesting this about Linda at all. I'm just kind of taking this to another area. But if I was a crook, I would not want to see police officers once a fortnight in my village. If I was legit, then I would be more than happy to see police officers. I've never heard anyone on a phone-in show say they want to see less police officers. 03459 455 555. You'll have thoughts on that. Linda, if you want to come back on, maybe let's do her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she got cut off because Linda sounded like an intelligent woman. I can't believe she would cowardly slam the phone down like that. These are your headlines. BBC Three Counties Radio. Bedfordshire Police Federation says the decision to give the county's force no extra money will almost certainly mean job losses. A man who was extradited back from Trinidad will stand trial today for the murder of 20-year-old Jordan Maguire in Luton. And here we go. This is a news story. I love stuff like this. Have a listen to this, Kath. A warship that was commanded by the Duke of Bedford 600 years ago has been found on a riverbed in Hampshire. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Mary Rose Part 2.
In a recent survey, we asked 47 people who they'd most like to wake up with.
I would like to wake up next to my beautiful girlfriend, Daisy.
Be waking up with Angelina Jolie, I can assure you.
Tomorrow I'd like to wake up next to Dave here, because at least I'll be alive.
But there was one name missing off that list.
Justin Dealey.
Justin Dealey. Saturday mornings from 6. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Who is Justin Dealey?
I have never heard of him.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
You'd only want less police officers if you were a crook, wouldn't you? And I'm just distancing myself from Linda. I'm kind of taking this argument and facing it in a different direction. But I can't understand why. And I'm not on the side of the police. I'm just on the side of honesty. And to say you see police corruption and police skullduggery all the time, quotes unquote, is nonsense. She had an example that happened to her. I'm talking about Linda now. An example that happened to her 15 years ago. OK, well, I'm sure that would tarnish your view on the police. And then she cited 2 other examples. One happened, it was either early this year or late last year, and it's subject to an investigation. We talk about it on the show from time to time. And the other one, I think, happened like last year or something. And they're bad examples, right? But it's no proof that you see it all the time. Matt's on the line. Morning, Matt.
Morning, Ian. How you doing?
I'm really confused, to be honest, Matt. I'm confused. What have you got for us?
Well, literally just leading on from what you were saying, I'm very put out and upset by her comments because my sister's actually in the force and she's been doing it a long, long time.
Well, your sister's corrupt and bent and she should get the sack. That's Linda's view.
I'm boiling with anger with what she said. I mean, my sister's been in the Bedfordshire Police for about 10 years plus. She's worked herself up to a good position. I won't say what division, but she does such long hours so she hardly sees her husband much, because if a job's called in literally before she finishes her shift, she has to go out and do it and finish it until it's, leave when it's done. And sometimes she does in excess of 60 hours plus overtime. She's stressed out. She works so hard. And I've also got friends in Thames Valley in bed, and what they tell me, what they do, hats off to them. Fair play.
And listen, I'm not, I'm not kissing the police's ass, so to speak. I'm not blowing smoke up their backside because, there are some instances of horrible pieces of corruption and, skullduggery and bad things happening. But the police have done bad things. But to tar them all and say you see police corruption and police bullying all the time and that there's too many of them and they get paid too much and they should be sacked. The majority of the police are decent men and women that are doing a, really stinky job.
It is true. It's true. And what she does, what she has been doing, I could nowhere near deal with it. But it does happen in every profession because in my line of work, we're tarnished with the same brush. But, I'm one of many that are the decent ones, and yet we're all tarred with the same brush of it. So it's in the same context and same thing, the same different lines of work, really.
Matt, thank you very much indeed. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you email me that question for Andy. By the way, Andy Day from CBeebies is coming on tomorrow about 8:30. If you've got a young person under the... Oh, OK. I mean, there are so many categories. If you've got a young child that wants to ask a question, if you could, record it on your phone and then email it, ian.lee, IAIN.LEE at bbc.co.uk, or an old person, or if you've got a stroppy teenager. If you've got a stroppy teenager who's got a question for Andy Day, then could you please... thank you, Kelly. If you could email it, ian.lee at bbc.co.uk, and we'll play them to him. He's coming on to plug his album. I felt bad because I texted him about something. Why was I texted him the other day? Oh, a friend of mine who worked with him. And I saw he'd sent me a text from April that I hadn't replied to. I know, and the text was... he said, Ian, I wouldn't normally ask this, but I'm doing something for these trying to raise money for a school in Africa. Can I come on and plug it? I don't normally let people come on and plug that, but I like Andy, and he's been very kind to me, so I would have happily have let Andy come on, and at the cost of some bullying towards him, let him plug his charity.
But you ignored him.
I ignored him, and I replied. I said, I'm so sorry, and he replied. Fair play. He took it in good spirits. He replied. Where's his reply? Where's it gone? Hang on a minute. I've got the wrong thing.
Is it in your blocked folder?
It should be. It's gone to a different thing. He said, "Oh well, never mind. That school in Africa folded, but it's all right." Ouch. He then told me it was only a joke, guys. But that school in Africa had not folded. But he's coming on tomorrow. So if you've got a question, ian.lee at bbc.co.uk. And when I say a question, obviously I want you to ask him something stupid. Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's plenty to go on.
I mentioned it to my eldest. And I said, do you remember when you... He said, oh, yeah, I asked him the question about how many windows he had.
Yeah.
Yeah! So anything like that, any nonsense, and we'll pick the best ones and we'll play them to him. Now, Bedford Borough Council are clamping down on disabled blue badge fraud. A man has been fined for using his son's blue badge to park in St Paul's Square, and a care manager has also been fined for tampering with the date on a blue badge. The council says their corporate fraud team will continue working with officers to do more spot checks. Well, Helen Dolphin is the Director of Policy at the campaign group Disabled Motoring UK. Helen, why is this so important? Oh, you're on that fader. Sorry, Helen, starting. I had the wrong fader open. Let's try again. Helen, why is it important to crack down on these fraudsters?
Because it prevents a lot of disabled people from getting where they need to go. And it also stops people, they basically just are not paying for their parking, and that's, an essential revenue in these kind of difficult times. And I don't see, it just shouldn't be happening. People shouldn't be using badges that don't belong to them.
We tend to demonise these. We tend to demonise these people, though, don't we? I mean, it's bad to do it, and it's a wrong thing to do. But there seems to be a real kind of venom directed towards these people. All they're doing is getting free parking.
Well, for someone like myself, I've lost all of my limbs to meningitis. If I try to park my car and there's no spaces at all because they've all been taken up by people, that shouldn't be using the badge scheme, and I can't get where I need to go, and that's a massive inconvenience. And say it was something like a doctor's appointment, I would then miss that appointment. So, it's not just missing a little bit of parking revenue. It's actually, quite a kind of massive inconvenience to a lot of disabled people, and that's why it should be stamped out.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily, with the greatest respect, you wouldn't necessarily miss the doctor's appointment. I tend to get to the doctor's appointment as incredibly early, so slight extrapolation.
When you've got three safe spaces outside, and you have to be able to open your car to the door to the absolute maximum to get out, and all those spaces are taken, then where would you suggest that I parked?
Oh, I'm not. Listen, I'm not playing disabled top trumps with you. I have used blue badges. I know exactly what the blue badge is for and exactly why there are wider parking spaces. I just worry that we're kind of demonising these people. Where in the great scheme of things, it's bad. I'm not saying it's all right, but there are worse things, aren't there?
There's always worse things than abusing a blue badge, but often, it's a massive inconvenience at the time, and that's why what's the point of having a scheme to benefit disabled people if it's just being so abused that it's not benefiting people anymore? And if you have schemes which aren't policed and aren't enforced, then unfortunately the people just take advantage of that. And that's why I'm really actually pleased that Bedford Council are cracking down on it.
The thing is, we've got no idea how many people are actually doing it. The person that got caught here in one of these instances was stupid because they changed the date. Well, that's obvious that they've changed the date, but you can buy these badges. People use their friends or their mum's badges. You've got no idea, have we, how many people abuse this system?
The estimate from areas where they have fraud teams is in some cities' centres it's up to 50% of people that are misusing it. So it's really quite high. And
where have you got that figure from? Because I thought the National Fraud Authority estimates that it's 20% of all the badges in circulation are abused.
Yeah, that's all over the place, isn't it?
Right.
And this is in city centres.
And where have they got that figure from? How have they come up with that?
Because they have fraud teams out there, and if half the badges that they stop are from people not using them, then that's where they're getting that figure from.
Right. So what would you like to see people do?
I'd like to see all councils enforcing it. That's what I'd like to see. At the moment, you've only got, quite a small number that actually, have fraud investigators, looking into what's happening and stopping people and prosecuting and going as far as court. So, until all authorities do it, then it's probably going to kind of remain the problem that it is.
OK. All right, Helen, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. It's Helen Dolphin, Director of Policy at the campaign group Disabled Motoring UK. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. I've had to part with the blue badge, so I know what it's about, and I know why there's an extra space, and I know why it's nearer to places. But I don't know. I just kind of think that we're demonising these people, perhaps a little bit more than is necessary. Let's get your phone calls on that. Let's get the Trav first.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are long queues on the M25 anti-clockwise approaching junction 22 for St Albans, and that's because of an accident there earlier where there's a lane closed and it's causing... it's from junction 22 for St Albans approaching junction 19 for Watford, and it's also causing delays on the A405 from the Park Street roundabout. On the M1 it's really slow southbound from the London Gateway services towards junction 2 for the A1 at Five Ways Corner, and it's busy on the M1 southbound between the Toddington services and junction 11 for Luton as well. On the A421 in Marston Mortain it's busy in both directions because of the roadworks at Beancroft Road on the roundabout, and in Amersham Hill into High Wycombe it's very slow in both directions at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines. Bedfordshire Police Federation says the decision to give the county's force no extra money will almost certainly mean job losses. The Minister for Policing, Mike Penning, says the new formula for deciding funding is fair, robust and transparent. A man will stand trial today for the murder of 20-year-old Jordan Maguire in Luton. Mr Maguire was fatally stabbed at his home on the Marsh Farm estate in May 2013. 32-year-old Jason Nelson was arrested in Trinidad last October and extradited back to the UK. And the wreck of a 600-year-old warship has been discovered on a riverbed near Southampton. It's believed to be the Holy Ghost, which was commanded by the Duke of Bedford during the 100 Years' War. The weather will be mainly dry with sunshine this morning, turning cloudy this afternoon. Temperatures on the chilly side around 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hertfordshire's Lewis Hamilton is now just one win from his third world title after winning the Russian Grand Prix. The victory means Mercedes have won the Constructors' Championship.
I feel amazing. Feel very blessed. I enjoyed the drive, to be honest. You know, people would assume that when you're out front it's easy, but it's not. You know, you're constantly faced with challenges and staying focused through the whole race. You know, I've been racing a long time, and even today I felt constantly coming up against another challenge along the way. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and again, just grateful for all the support that I got from my team.
Phil Jagielka will captain England for tonight's final Euro 2016 qualifier against Lithuania. He says it's a dream come true.
Definitely delighted to have wore the armband in games before, you know, leading up to the World Cup and then the San Marino game, but probably didn't expect to have the opportunity to lead the team out. You know, obviously it's something I do on a regular basis at home, but to do it for your country, it didn't seem probably even like a dream, to be honest. It was that far-fetched, you know, growing up. You just want to, you know, become a footballer. Captain your country would be something, you know, you probably don't ever think about.
Stevenage have moved up to 20th in League Two after a 3-3 draw at Exeter. Manager Teddy Sheringham says they make a strong start.
I think it was a good performance apart from perhaps 2 or 3 lapses of concentration. It's a sloppy start after, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 minutes to go behind, you know. So apart from that, we got into the game early on and we passed it nicely and opened them up a little bit. Didn't take our chances, and the second was just a killer blow that was just very harsh, I felt at the time. But when you don't start good enough, that's what happens.
And finally in golf, Matt Fitzpatrick claimed his first European Tour title, winning the British Masters at Woburn. He finished 15 under par, 2 shots clear of the field. BBC Three Counties News and Sport, more at 9 o'clock.
1, 2, 3 and 4 more make 7. 6 is afraid of 7, 'cause 7, 8, 9. 9 was minding his business, talking to 10 about Gordie Howe's clothes. Why 7, 8, 9? Nobody knows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. What about 9? 7, 8, 9. Oh, the cat'll have to live with 8 lives now. Ronaldo will have to make do. Ever since 7, 8, 9 seems I've got an extra finger and an extra toe too. 7, 8, 9. Once upon a time in our solar system, we couldn't make do without 9. But Pluto's not a planet now, so 8'll do fine. Oh, the cat'll have to do with 8 lives now. The Chinese will be out of luck. Vampires will have to think of some other method, 'cause without their K9s, how will they suck? 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. What about 9? 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. Oh, 7, 8, 9.
Now, a sinkhole which opened up in St Albans continues to be monitored for signs of movement. Experts are using specialist equipment. Oh, specialist equipment! At the site in Fontmell Close. So far, 48 lorry loads of foamed concrete have been poured into the hole at a total cost of £100,000. Well, Rosemary Broom lives in Fontmell Close, just a few yards from the sinkhole. Good morning, Rosemary.
Good morning.
What a week or so you've had. When did you find out about this hole? Did you kind of just open the curtains one morning and it was there?
No, we heard this whoosh and thud about 1:30 in the morning, and looked out of the back window, and I saw a fire engine and fire tenders at the beginning of Fontmell Close, and everywhere was pitch black, and we just saw, it looked like firemen and police walking around with torches. Then I looked out the front, and of course we couldn't see down the hole because it was just pitch black, so we didn't know what had happened. And then there were police calling out, and we noticed several people were evacuated about half an hour later from their houses prior to our house. And then a policeman called up to us to the bedroom and said, have a bag packed, ready to leave probably within 10 minutes if need be. So
that must have been quite scary, Rosemary.
It was scary.
Yeah, I bet.
We didn't know what it was. And they then told us it was a very deep, large sinkhole. And I said, it sounds like a swimming pool, and they sort of joked about it. But of course, it was very serious.
It was one option. They could have filled it in with water and made the street all the more desirable.
Well, we were trying to make light of it because obviously a lot of people were upset, but everyone's pulled together to sort of help each other. But
are you back home yet?
No. We've been in the Quality Hotel in London Road, St Albans, since the 1st of October, and we're going to be here indefinitely. They've given us till the 6th of November, but we're hoping to be out before that. But at the moment, we're able to get back into our house each day just to check things. And we've got temporary electric that's just gone on a couple of days ago, but it's actually from the mains in the road. And there's a cable that goes through our letterbox, through our lobby, through our lounge, through the hall, into the cabinet. And we haven't got water to our house at the moment. We felt it was safer not while all this is going on.
Yeah.
But it could be maybe at least another week with this cable through the door. Gas is not on in the road yet. Lots of people are having their houses attended to. They might be on later in the week, the gas, but ours will be after that because we're so near the sinkhole. So it's...
Now, at the weekend, I heard that there were more cracks appearing. Then I heard that there weren't more cracks appearing. What's happening?
Well, what happened was we've been asking, and they've actually filled in the hole with maybe a metre left to go, and they've got some sort of pegs in that's measuring to see if there's any movement. Yeah. And we've been asking the engineers that have been working on it, and they said so far that nothing had appeared, but we're hearing all different stories, so we're not sure ourselves, really.
And I've been told it's your birthday coming up soon.
Oh, yeah, Halloween.
Oh, spooky.
With the name Broom.
There we go. You see, I see what's happened there. Yes. And do you know where you're going? Do you know where you're going to be spending it? You don't know if you're going to be home by then, do you?
Several things with friends, but we're actually going to the Colney Fox with just family on my birthday, on the 31st. And we'll be doing things with other friends, but we were hoping to be home. Everyone keeps reminding me 70 is a big one. I'm trying not to think about it.
Well, listen, let's keep our fingers crossed that you manage to get back. And yes, we'll all be. Let us know when you do. And happy birthday for the end of October.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you very much.
There we go, Rosemary Broom. A giant stink hole. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought it? It's not called a stink hole, it's called a crown hole.
It's not called a stink hole, it's a sinkhole. Oh.
Oh, yeah, I see. Okay, I understand. Yes. Texas?
Yes.
Go on.
Helen in Milton Keynes. Criminals know which areas of Milton Keynes to target now that Linda has stated that she lives in a village. Thanks very much.
Yeah, this was Linda, who thinks that the police are all bent. That they are overpaid and that more of them should get sacked. Simply because 15 years ago she claims that she was harassed by a police officer, and also because they set up a stall in her village every other week.
And there's not even any crime.
I know exactly. She's the only person I've ever heard who wants less police officers on the street. Her and Raffles, they're the only people that want less police officers out and about. Is it Raffles? Yes, it is.
Yeah, gentleman thief.
Gentleman thief, yes.
Mark in Dunstable lives in the west of Dunstable. He says, I've not seen any police locally for months. I'd love to see them again every week. And Disco Dave says, I get stopped every weekend on the way back from gigs at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Because his gigs are criminal.
Sometimes breath tested, and I'm glad they do it. It proves that policing works. Lee B in Milton Keynes, who is this? Should we scrap the police entirely and see how that works for good old Linda?
Authors buying 03459 455 555, by the way, is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Authors buying fake reviews to be a bestseller on Amazon. Glumface, you should restart that. It was good, that. I enjoyed that.
I've got one in my pocket, actually. I'll do one.
There's a website and everything now. Books and products on Amazon are being pushed to the top of the bestseller lists by fake reviews. It has emerged. Well, everybody knew that, didn't they? I've written reviews for the podcast on iTunes. Of course I have. Of course you've got to get the... Oh, it's BBC Corruption Pro. You've got to get the ball rolling.
Some of the reviews are hilarious as well. Have you seen the one for IMAC?
Yeah, I've seen... Yeah. Hang on a second. Here we go. Using stolen identities, including including those of British teenage girls. Wow. The bogus reviewers charge as little as £3 to post ratings on the website. As well as writing 5-star reviews to help boost sales, and this is where it starts to get fun, they also offer to fabricate negative posts for individuals and businesses who want to sabotage rivals.
Wow.
Now the internet gets fun. The fake Amazon reviews are part of a much bigger problem, sparking fears that consumer spending of £23 billion a year is being rigged by sellers paying for bogus endorsements. Well, what's the difference between that and an advert on the telly? You know, we're all manipulated to think of what we all buy what we're told to buy. We're suckers.
Who reads one review anyway? If you're already on the reviews, read them all, and then the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yes, exactly. I always look at on Amazon, the reviews 1 to 5. I look at the 4-star reviews and the 2-star reviews, and I split the difference. I look at the
2-star reviews are often bonkers, aren't they?
The 1-star reviews are the 1-star reviews are. This was delivered late. Yeah, that's a problem with Amazon delivery. That's not a problem with the product. When I was looking for electric blankets, by the way, I had my electric blanket on Sunday. Boy, oh boy, my life just got a whole heap better.
The ones I like, I've seen some. They said, "I thought this was a record. It's a cassette." Well, then that's your problem. I should give you a 1-star review.
Exactly. But it is, when I was buying this electric blanket, and it takes a little while to warm up, but boy, when it warms up, it's hot. The 1-star reviews, it arrived late. I'm giving this 1 star because it arrived late. Well, hang on a second. You're judging the Amazon delivery service, which is, let's be honest, is pony, but... Oh, by the way, I've been told they listen to us in Amazon. Hi, guys.
Hi, Amazon.
Hi, Amazon.
I really fancy an electric blanket, but I'm the only one who likes it hot.
Well, the electric blanket technology these days, it splits in half. You've got 2 different controllers. One left, one right.
Me and you could share one, Kath.
All right.
Right,
actually, that's better.
Yeah, let's do that.
We don't need a blanket.
The thing is because it splits the bed in half. So you can have your bed as hot as you want, whereas your partner has it as cold as they like. It's wonderful, Douglas. I tell you, wonderful. Hello, Douglas. Well, that was okay. Good. Yeah. What?
That was a very good intro there.
It was a good intro.
I haven't spoken to you before, but living in Barton, we do have the police pass through the village.
Right.
We don't have them actually stop and go around the village at all. So the lady that was on saying she's got someone every week, it's very fortunate.
Why would you complain? It was every other week, but why would you complain about having coppers setting up a stall every other week?
I can't understand that, I'll be honest with you. I can't understand it. We did have a spate of burglaries in Barton, a lot, and of course I get the ringmaster ring me up, but that seems to have stopped. They caught a couple in Luton or something.
Who's the ringmaster?
Well, they ring up, the police ring you up and let you know what's gone on, and then you can relay it out and warn people.
Why would that? Hang on, are you like Neighbourhood Watch or something?
It's similar to that, yeah. I'm not on Neighbourhood Watch. You can actually get it on your computer, but my computer's down, so they ring you. But we haven't had anything for about 2 months now.
Yeah.
So I assume that
that's sorted.
The 2 they caught in Luton that were doing burglaries admitted to a lot of others. But as I say, I'd love to have more police presence.
No, you wouldn't, Douglas. They're all corrupt. They get paid too much, and we should sack more of them.
That's rubbish. I've had quite a few dealings with the police. Nothing, serious, but they've been very helpful.
Douglas, thank you very much indeed. The Competition and Markets Authority is also looking into claims that reviews on such sites as TripAdvisor are being manipulated. Well, I thought we knew that a lot of the reviews on TripAdvisor were from customers who were peed off because they didn't, they were too late for breakfast, so they write a snarky review of the whole hotel, or were positive ones from the hotel. I don't believe anything I read online. Why on earth would you? 03459 455 555. Oh, the worst backing singers in the world. Here we go.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 anti-clockwise, all the lanes have reopened now at junction 19 for Watford, but it's still looking very slow from junction 22 for St Albans, and there are delays on the A405 from the Park Street roundabout too after an accident earlier. It's slow on the M1 southbound between the London Gateway services and junction 2 for Five Ways Corner heading into London, and it's also busy southbound on the M1 between the Toddington services and junction 11 for the A505 at Luton. On the A1M, it's also busy southbound heading through Stevenage, passing through junction 7, and on the A421 in Marston Mortain in both directions there are queues approaching Beancroft Road at the roundabout where there's roadworks. On Marlow Hill and High Wycombe, it's very busy into town at the moment looking at the speed sensors, and on the train departure boards the 9:18 service from Luton to Brighton's been cancelled. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. Linda just called back up. Doesn't want to go on air, does she, Catherine?
No, she wanted to slam the phone down again.
What did she... Linda, come on now. Don't be so silly.
We did offer.
What did she phone in to say then?
She phoned in to say she's going to report us to Citizens Advice.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's going to report us to the Citizens Advice Bureau. Just deconstruct that title. They advise people. They are not... I'm going to help her. It's Ofcom you want to report us to. It's Ofcom. They will have more influence, and they will take your complaint, they will look at it, and they will laugh. Because what have we done? Linda, come back on X. Maybe you didn't make your point clearly enough. 8:47. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Bedfordshire Police Federation says the decision to give the county's force no extra money will almost certainly mean job losses. A man who was extradited back from Trinidad will stand trial today for the murder of 20-year-old Jordan Maguire in Luton. And boy, genuinely, there is no hint of sarcasm. This is the kind of news story that gets me hot under the collar. A warship that was commanded by the Duke of Bedford 600 years ago has been found on a riverbed in Hampshire. Beautiful. Let's get the weather.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. We'll see a little bit more in the way of clouds than we had over the weekend, or certainly yesterday, but still some good spells of sunshine around. Temperatures at the moment between around 7 and 8 degrees Celsius for many spots, but it has been a rather chilly start to the morning, particularly for parts of Buckinghamshire. There'll be some sunny spells around, but not as many as there were yesterday. Pleasant in the sunshine, but of course quite cool underneath all that cloud, and there'll be a chilly northeasterly breeze as well, so feeling really quite cool in exposure to that. Top temperatures today only up to around 13 or 14 Celsius, slightly below the average for this time of year. It's 57 in Fahrenheit, so quite cool at times, but we will stay dry until perhaps this evening, when we might just get one or two light showers just pushing in from the northeast. So those showers will tend to be really quite light. They won't last for very long, and most places won't see them, but where we do get them, they may well continue on and off through the course of the night. There'll be some cloud around tonight, some clear spells as well. Temperatures down to between 5 and 8 degrees Celsius. The risk of one or two light showers around tomorrow morning, but many places dry. There will be more cloud around tomorrow. The breeze will be a bit brisker as well, so it'll feel slightly cooler. Highs of around 12 or 13 degrees. Really quite cool, but mostly dry for much of the rest of the week. That's the forecast, Iain.
Linda, could you... OK, Linda, you don't... She's going to the citizens... Stop phoning up my team and abusing them on the telephone, please, Linda. She just called Kelly Betts, who's one of the most delightful people you could ever work with, an average wage Joey. For goodness sakes. She earns much less than the average wage.
Every weekday from 3.
It's not just about what we bring you.
Starting off on the M25, it's particularly heavy-moving anti-clockwise.
It's also about what you bring us.
In the end, I could only eat off my ironing board.
Your stories.
Every room in the house was I was climbing over mountains of rubbish.
Your humour.
There's a reason why you earn the big bucks, you see. That sort of insightful comment is exactly right.
Your opinions.
Well, the culture's got to change because the police can't do it, and the traffic wardens are so busy, so the culture has to change.
I think parents do change into different human beings when they are picking their kids up.
Roberto Perroni.
And everyone across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
Weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio. This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Guys, you're not taking this seriously. You're not taking this seriously. Iain says Linda should make a complaint to the police if she can find one. And then he goes on to say, I'm not happy with your show this morning, and I've made a complaint to the Cones hotline. Come on, guys, not taking this seriously. Called Kelly Betts an average wage Joey.
Who did?
Linda, call back.
Did she again?
Yeah, if she's going to phone up and be abusive, she can come on the air. Don't phone up and be abusive to my
and
team.
also,
Don't be
you know,
abusive to my team.
we're not your answering service,
No,
Linda.
exactly.
Charming though you are.
Exactly. You're right, Kels. Yeah. Oh, you sure? Because you can probably get counselling on the licence payer's dollar for that.
I'm going to take that to Citizens Advice.
Citizens Advice.
Complain.
Citizens Advice.
You've got to complain about that.
You've got to register a complaint about that. Speaking of complaints that need to be registered, Justin.
Morning, boss.
Could you just send me a text later on that just says complaint?
Yeah, no worries.
I've just got to lodge a complaint about you, and
about me? What have I done?
Oh, it's honestly, it's nothing. Don't worry about it.
No,
but
come
I just
on,
want
talk to me.
No. I just want to lodge an official complaint, and I'll forget. So if you just send me a text that just says complaint, I'll remember it's you, and I'll put the two and two together, and it'll be absolutely fine.
Are you complaining that I've got too much swag? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's it, Justin. I'm complaining about the amount of swag. It's just not fair on all of us swaggerless guys. that one man could have so much swag.
Thanks, mate. That means a lot.
Now, we were talking about adult foods that only kids will eat. We've got Christmas pudding, a boozy trifle, blue cheese, chilli sauce.
Hang on a second.
Yes.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Somebody is just walking on the streets here. Sir, good morning. We're live. You know my new feature, the Wheel of Fortunes?
Oh.
What?
Yeah, you know my new feature on a Saturday morning, the Wheel of Fortunes? The man who is my voiceover. Say good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, say good morning to Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
Good morning to Bedfordshire and Hearts.
And Buckinghamshire.
And Buckinghamshire.
Thank you. Who is this gentleman?
He is voiceover man.
Wowzers.
He is my new voiceover man. He's good, isn't he?
He's got a voice, and he over-modded on the thing. So yeah, he's voiceover. Adult food, you've taken it to the streets. What we got?
I have indeed, yeah. I have to say, this is one of my favourite Voxes of all time. Earlier as well, you were looking for people who have been into a fish and chip shop and they've purchased pickled onions. That was correct,
That's
wasn't
correct.
it?
Yeah.
Yes. I managed to find somebody, and we've been speaking to people about foods that only adults eat. Here's what the streets had to say. Ricardo, foods that only adults eat.
I'm Richard, actually.
Okay. Yeah, foods that only adults eat.
Anchovies.
Anchovies.
Peanuts. Some chocolate. Dark chocolate.
Oh, yes, that's a great one, that is. Give me one more, come on.
Tuna. Or salmon, something like that.
You're good. What do you do for a living?
I'll go to college.
What are you studying to be?
I want to become a police officer.
Madam, let's get the Austrian perspective. It's a well-respected perspective on the programme. Madam, foods that only adults eat.
Just vegetable, isn't it? Vegetable.
What's that?
Vegetable.
What's your favourite vegetable?
Peas.
Do you know what? I find it really frustrating. Maybe you get the same thing in Austria as well. You know when you get frozen peas on the floor and you accidentally stand on them? How annoying is that?
Oh, I know it is. It is. Yeah.
It's universally annoying. Thank you, madam.
Okay.
Pate.
Pate? Yeah. When you were a kid, you hated it, yeah?
Yeah, it was just weird. Like it was.
But now you can't get enough of the stuff, can
love
you?
it. Love pate. Yeah.
Pizza. My one don't like pizza.
Apart from the Leaning Tower of Pisa, what about foods? Anything that your child doesn't like?
Mashed potato.
Thank you. Angela, we're looking for people that have actually ordered pickled onions from fish and chip shops before. You've ordered a pickled onion from a chippy. Describe the buzz of eating a pickled onion. How does it make you feel?
Get a buzz from food.
You don't get a buzz from a pickled onion?
He does.
You get a buzz from a pickled onion?
Yeah.
Describe the buzz.
It just makes me feel full.
Cabbage.
Carrots. So cabbage and carrots. A bit like Babe Station. Adults only.
Yeah. I'll say that, yeah.
I'm reminded, the young lady who was unable to say vegetables reminds me of the greatest Beach Boy. You ever heard this Beach Boys song? This is the great...
Vegetables, I'm gonna chop down my vegetables. I love you most of all, my favourite vegetable.
Remember the Beach Boys. Don't take drugs, kids, otherwise you'll think this is worth putting out.
If you brought a big brown bag of them home,
What would you do, Brian?
I'd jump up and down and hope you'd toss me a carrot.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you'd toss me a carrot. Don't do drugs, Justin. Don't do drugs.
Oh, wow, that was good.
It was a masterclass in boxing, my friend. I'll speak to you later on.
Thank you, Geezer.
Cheers, my dears.
I tried to kick the ball, but my tenny flew right off. I'm red as a bee, 'cause I'm so...
Here comes the fun bit.
Mama, Daddy said, sleep a lot, eat a lot, brush 'em like crazy.
It's the Beach Boys, ladies and gentlemen. The Beach Boys.
I love that song.
I know. I mean, it's amazing, but...
How well did it chart?
It wasn't the biggest.
That's from the same album that's got She's Going Bald on it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Me and my mate Neil used to get very drunk and laugh at this.
Yeah.
I threw away my candy.
There we go. There's
She's Going Bald.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beach Boys, one of my favourite bands, but also one of the weirdest bands of all time. We didn't get the whole show was going to be structured around this picture that we didn't get time to talk about.
Which picture?
The picture of the dog going for a walk. Now, I've got a walk. I don't like the dog, and I actually had an argument with my missus this weekend about the dog because me and the dog are not. Why don't you like the dog? I said, well, don't like me, right? But that's you should you should be a little bit more sympathetic. I said, well, the dog don't like me. I don't like the dog. Let's
an understanding.
Let's leave it at that. We're just not getting on. But I'll have to take it for a walk later on. Sicko driver's dog walk. A sick dog owner is being hunted by cops after he was filmed dragging this skinny hound along Main Road. He wasn't dragging. Basically, the guy's driving a car, right? He's driving a car. Slowly. And he's got, the dog is outside and he's holding the lead and the dog is...
Why is he doing that?
Because he's
lazy.
He's lazy. Or he doesn't get on with
busy.
the dog. Yeah, exactly. It just seems like a perfectly normal way. Horrified motorists saw the animal beside the motor in Cardiff. Police launched a probe. Oh, it's an interesting way of dealing with things. Don't forget, you've got a question for Andy Day from CBeebies. Just record it on your phone. If you've got a kid, an old person or a stroppy teenager, send it to Iain.lee, IAIN.LEE at bbc.co.uk. He's coming on tomorrow. We'll have Dave Davis from the Kinks on at some point soon as well. He's coming back on as well, maybe November. Oh, excitement.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are still long delays on the M25 anti-clockwise, so from junction 21 for the M1 now towards junction 19 for the A41 at Watford. It's after there was an accident there earlier, but all the lanes are open again, but it's still very busy. And on the M1, it's slow southbound from the London Gateway services to junction 2 for Five Ways Corner. On the A1M southbound from Welland Green towards the junction 1 for the M25 at St Albans, looking very busy too. And in Marston Mortain on the A421, there are queues in both directions towards the Beancroft Road at the roundabout where there's roadworks going on. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much. That's it, guys. That's your lot. Don't forget there is a podcast. It comes out every Friday. It's the best bits of the show. And last week, because Danny was doing the podcast, there was a menu at the top of the podcast. Yeah, a menu coming up this, and this, which I've been told... Well, I've been told by Kelly Betts, who normally does the podcast, it's impossible to do that. Yet Danny Warbucks was able to do it and did a cracking job. Good to have you back, Kelly. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Justin. Back tomorrow at 6. Till then from us, ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith. It's Monday. It's 9 o'clock. And on today's Big Phone In, do you know how you'd vote if the in or out referendum election was today? The cross-party campaign for the UK to stay in the European Union is launching today with the message that leaving is not worth the risk. Former M&S boss Lord Rose is chair of the campaign, and he's called those who want to leave quitters. He's also dismissed the idea that it's more patriotic to vote out, as an in vote will be the strongest decision for British business and society. Well, this morning I want to hear from you. Do you know how you'd vote if the in or out European election was today? Here's my telephone number for your call. It's 03459 455 555.
This is the JVS Show
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'll take your call in just a second, but first let's get the latest BBC News at 9 o'clock. Here's Lee Agnew.
Bedfordshire Police Federation says it's shocked at the decision to give the county's force no extra money. The policing minister, Mike Penning, says the funding formula is fair and robust. But Emma Carter from the Federation says it almost certainly means more cutbacks.
You can't make police officers redundant, but certainly I would imagine that police staff's jobs will now be at risk. Without them there, those jobs are vital. They'll still have to be done. That may well mean that the few police officers that we do have will now be taken off that front line and put into the back office jobs.
A man will stand trial today for the murder of 20-year-old Jordan Maguire in Luton. Mr Maguire was fatally stabbed at his home on the Marsh Farm estate in May 2013. 32-year-old Jason Nelson was arrested in Trinidad last October and extradited back to the UK. The Royal College of Nursing says many trained nurses may be forced to leave Britain because they aren't being paid enough money. New government rule says non-European nurses will have to leave the UK after 6 years if they're not earning at least £35,000. Victoria Cooling from the RCN says it's going to have a massive impact on the NHS.
Nursing has always been an international profession. We have always recruited overseas nurses. The NHS has a proud history of having overseas nurses. So it's not something new. It's always been there. But our nurses have never been under the threat of having to leave the country.
A man from Bedford has been fined nearly £1,000 for misusing his disabled son's blue badge. Meanwhile, a woman from Bedford who tampered with the date on a blue badge has also been convicted of fraud. Helen Dolphin from Disabled Motoring UK says it's not a victimless crime.
It prevents a lot of disabled people from getting where they need to go. And it also stops people, they basically just are not paying for their parking, and that's, an essential revenue in these kind of difficult times. And I don't see, it just shouldn't be happening. People shouldn't be using badges that don't belong to them.
The wreck of a 600-year-old warship has been discovered on a riverbed near Southampton. It's believed to be the Holy Ghost, which was commanded by the Duke of Bedford. Jane Killick reports.
The Holy Ghost was one of the first big medieval warships to be built by Henry V and carried soldiers to fight in France during the